simple box breath to start with. This means inhaling for a count of 4, retaining for 2, and exhaling for 4, and then retaining for 2. So we'll begin on the inhale, 2, 3, 4, holding 2, and exhaling 2, 3, 4, hold 2, inhaling 2, 3, 4, hold 2, exhaling 2, 3, 4, hold 2, inhaling, holding, exhaling, holding, inhaling. You can continue in this pattern with your own breath and your own time. If you feel like extending the retention, you can extend to a count of 4 so that the inhale, exhale, and retentions are equal in length. If you want to expand to a count of 5, 6, 7, you're welcome to do so. Or if you want to dial it back to 3, that's also an option here. One final round. And we'll bring the breath back to a normal pattern, maintaining that ujjayi. So as we sit here, I just want to invite anyone who's feeling any injuries or anything that they'd like me to know about, just to have a slight raise of the hand. Awesome. So, you know your own body, but take it easy. Do it for a few twists, so spines aligned, and maybe go slightly down, maybe focal point to extremely. Just go slow. A lot of times we feel like we're down the block, but pressure on the arms is too much, and maybe just bring down the child's toes and begin to step in. If you're having difficulty reading your lungs, then just have a sneaky sip through the mouth. Or a tummy. When we're ready, we'll gently blink open the eyes. So we'll begin by sweeping the arms up overhead on the inhale. Exhaling, bringing that right hand to the right hip, leaning over, stretching out the side body. Holding here for the inhale. And exhale. Inhaling to bring back to center. Exhaling to bring the left hand next to the left hip. Stretching over to the right side of the body. Holding the inhale. And exhaling. Inhaling back up to center. We'll take a split circle twist. So the left hand is going to come to the right knee and the right hand comes behind us. Well, if it's comfortable for us, if there's no strains of the necks, we can bring the drishti, our focal point, over the right shoulder. And holding here for a breath in and the breath out. Inhaling back up to center. Taking it on the other side, so the right hand meets the left knee, the left hand comes behind us, sending the drishti that's available over the left shoulder. Inhaling here, and exhaling. Inhaling back up to center. Exhaling, we'll come into a cat-cow or tabletop, so hands come directly below the shoulders. Knees below the hips. Feeling into this. When we're ready, we'll inhale into our cow pose, so flipping the navel towards the mat, looking gently up towards the ceiling, and exhaling into our cat, arching the spine, bringing the navel in towards the spine. Do a few more rounds of this, so inhaling into our cow, exhaling into our cat, pushing through the palms of the fingers. Inhaling once more. Exhaling into the cow. So we can continue in this rhythm, or we can start bringing in some organic movement if we feel called to. So we can continue the cat cow, or maybe introducing some figure eights, walking gently up and down the spine, on side to side. Tuning into the body, feeling where there's tension, what we're working with today. Each time we come onto the mat is different, every day, every practice, so where you might have felt before might not be where it is now. Perhaps have a moment of playing with the position of the hands, stretching out the wrists, maybe coming onto the backs of the hands. When we're ready, we'll inhale to tabletop. And exhale, we'll send the hips back to meet the heels, knees spread out wide and into our pose of the child, extended hands. Forehead comes towards the mat. Inhaling, exhaling, options to side out, and into the finger. So we're welcome to come back to this position at any time that we like. It's a place to hang out. The next inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to that tabletop. Straightening up the knees so that they're back into the hips. Exhaling, curling over the toes. Inhaling, the knees hover off the ground. And exhaling, we're straightening the legs back up into our first downward dog. So here we want to be just pedaling out. This is the first downward dog of the day. We can feel into the pose, maybe ultimately bending the knees. Maybe sending the drishti, the purple pine, to behind the shoulders or behind the armpits, sorry. Experimenting with pushing the knuckles into the earth, into the mat. And then when we're ready, we'll come into a still, stable position, downward dog. As we inhale, we'll come into a high plank. Exhale back into our downward facing dog. Complete that one more time. Inhaling into high plank. And exhaling into downward dog. This time on the inhale, we'll take the right leg up to the sky. Exhaling, stepping the right leg through. Placing the front in between the hands. The back knee lowers to the mat. Inhale into our low lunge, Anjali Asana. Exhale to sink deeper into the pose. Inhale to bring length into the spine. Exhale, taking the left hand so that it's parallel with the right foot. Twisting open to the side. Option 2, bring the knee up and creating a long line with the back leg. Holding here for another breath. And exhale. Inhaling once more. Exhaling, bringing that right leg sort of right foot so it frames the right leg, and stepping back into our high lunge. Inhaling here to pull up the back. Exhaling, drop the knees, bringing the chest forward and down towards the mat, followed by the chin. Inhaling into cobra. So slide back, bend at the back. Exhaling, back down towards the mat, pushing through our tabletop and into downward dog. Moving that on the left side, so inhaling, left leg comes up towards the sky. Exhaling, left foot comes in between the hands, bringing that right knee down towards the mat. Inhaling, low lunge, Anjaliasana. Exhaling to sink deeper into the pose. Inhaling to bring length. Exhaling to bring the right hand so that it meets the mat next to the left foot, and bringing that twist to the other side. Option to bring the knee off the mat and creating a straight leg. More breath here. Inhaling space. Exhaling to bring that left hand down towards the mat, framing the left foot and stepping the left foot down into our high lunge. Inhaling in high lunge. Exhaling to drop the knees to the mat, sending the chest forward and down. Into on the mat, inhaling into cobra, pushing the backs of the feet into the mat. And exhaling back into tabletop and down into downward facing dog. Holding here for a breath. And then we'll lower the knees and come back into that child's pose. And taking a couple of breaths here. Next inhale, we'll come back into our tabletop. And exhaling back into downward facing dog. So from here, we're going to baby step the feet to meet the hands. So we're coming into a forward fold. Inhaling to halfway lift. And exhaling to fold. Inhaling. We'll slowly bring the back up to straight, vertebra by vertebra, and rolling the spine. Exhaling, holding the shoulders. And feeling in Tadasana. So I invite you to just close the eyes here, feel the grounding of the feet into the mat. Take a few rounds of Surya Namaskara, these are our sun salutations. So when we're ready, on the inhale, we'll scoop the arms up forward, up to the sky, option to bring in a slight back bend. And exhale, bowing forward, hinging at the hips into our forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, hands can come up to the shins. And exhale, move back into the forward fold. Right leg steps back, left leg steps back into our high lunge. Inhaling in the high lunge. Exhaling, option to drop the knees. This time you can go straight into Chaturanga with the legs extended, halfway down towards the mat. Inhale, taking the cobra over the upward facing dog. And exhaling, rolling back into our downward facing dog. Taking the breath here. Next exhale, we'll step our feet to the top of the mat. Halfway lift on the inhale. And exhale to fold forward. Inhaling to bring the arms up towards the sky. Exhaling, Samastiti, press the heart. Our second round, so inhaling, arms back up towards the sky. Exhaling, hinging at the feet, hips folding forward. Inhaling to halfway lift. Exhaling to fold. Again, you can step the feet back off, direct bend the knees, point back into our high lunge. Inhaling, high lunge. Exhaling, chaturanga of your choice. Inhaling to cobra. And exhaling, or double upward facing. Exhaling to downward facing dog. Holding the breath here. Each downward dog is an opportunity to just check our centering, check if we're feeling still integrated, if the breath is still leading the movement. Next exhale, we'll bend the knees and we can step or float to the top of the mat. Inhaling to half over. And exhaling to fold. Inhaling, bringing the arms up, overhead towards the ceiling. Exhaling, press the heart. One more round, so inhaling, bring the arms up, slight back bend. Exhaling, tap forward fold. Inhaling halfway. Exhaling, bending the knees, stepping off facing straight through your chaturanga. So halfway down the mat or onto the mat, depending on what we prefer. Inhaling, upward facing or cobra. And exhaling to downward facing dog. Taking the breath here, feeling the knuckles integrate into the mat, feeling the spine, lengthening, straightening. If you have to bend the knees slightly to get that, that's totally okay. Next inhale, we'll bring the right leg to the sky. Exhale to step it through, step the foot through in between the hands. Inhale to crescent lunge. And exhale to sink deeper. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhaling, we'll bring the left hand back towards the mat, so the inside of the right foot. And again, bringing in that twist. Option to drop the knee if that's more available for you. Holding here for a breath. And on the exhale, we'll bring the hands back towards the mat and stepping back throughout up to our high lunge, high plank. Inhaling here. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing or cobra. Exhaling to downward facing dog. The inhale will bring the left foot to the sky. Exhaling, step it through towards the hands. Inhaling to crescent lunge. Exhaling to sink deeper. Inhaling, bringing some length. And exhaling, taking that right hand down towards the mat on the inside of the left foot, bringing back into that twist. Again, option to drop the knee if that's not comfortable for you. Holding for the inhale. And on the exhale, we'll bring the left hand so that it frames the left foot and stepping back to our high lunge. Inhaling on the high plank, Exhaling with chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing, and exhaling to downward facing dog. So here we can come back into our child's pose just to rest for a moment, so bringing the knees out wide, sending the foot towards the heels. Option to take a sip of water if you like. Checking in with the breath. Next inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to tabletop. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, we'll bring the right leg back up towards the sky. Exhale, step it through towards the hands. Inhaling to bring ourselves back into that high lunge. Exhaling to sink further in. Inhaling, we're going to bring some length, and exhale, we'll spin the left foot so that the heel is pointed down to 45 degrees into our warrior one position. So here we want to Try and keep the hips square as possible. I want to imagine that there's 4 points that are anchoring into the mat from the back foot equally. One more breath here. Holding for the inhale. And exhaling, we'll bring the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers. Inhaling, we'll trace the back of the leg, bringing in a slight back bend. And exhaling into humble warrior. So there's 2 options here. We can bring the belly so that it's onto the thigh, or we can send the chest on the inside of the right thigh. Allowing the right shoulder to meet the inside of the right knee. And holding here for a couple of breaths. Sending the drishti towards the back of the mat. Chin slightly tucked into the chest. On the next inhale, we'll come up halfway. Exhale, we'll take the left hand so it's placing next to the right foot. Coming back into that twist, so the left foot comes back onto the balls of the feet, sending the right hand open towards the sky. On the next exhale, we'll take that right hand back towards the mat, and we'll walk it into the side of our mat so that we're in a wide legged forward fold. Hands come into a chaturanga position, feet are parallel here. If you're not sure if they're parallel, you can use the edge of the mat, just use it to gauge of how far it is. Inhaling to halfway lift, and exhaling to fold forward, sending the chest through between the legs, bending the elbows, so we want to keep an integration with the back, no rounding of the spine. As if the crown of the head is trying to meet the floor. One more breath here. Inhaling, we'll come up halfway. Exhaling, we'll bring a slight bend into the left knee. Right hand is going to come into the center. We'll take it open to a twist. So left hand scoops up towards the sky. And if it's comfortable for the neck, if we don't have any problems there, we can send the drishti to look at the tips of the fingers, gazing up towards the sky. Holding for the inhale. And exhale, bring the hand back towards the mat. Sending our attention to the front of the mat once again, walking the hands so that they're framing the right foot and coming into our Renaissance lunge. Inhaling here. Exhaling, we'll bring the right foot back to meet the left foot and into our downward facing dog. We'll take a flow, so on the inhale, back into high plank. Exhaling into a chaturanga of our choice. Inhaling, upward facing. Exhaling to downward facing dog. So we're going to take a moment in the last one to get there. We'll take the right leg back up towards the sky. Exhaling to step the right foot so that it's on the outside of the right hand. The left foot meets the outside of the left hand. We're coming into our yogic squat, so sending the butt down towards the mat as far as comfortable. Hands come up into prayer, and we use the elbows to keep the spine straight as possible. Option to close down the eyes here, gaze into our third eye. So the eyes are closed, we'll bring them back open. You can stay here if this is comfortable, or it might not be comfortable, and maybe that's why you want to stay here, and that's totally fine, because some people find it's quite easy, some people have quite close hips. So if we're going to expand, we'll bring the right hand so that it's coming out off the mat into a diagonal line, and we'll send the left hand so it creates further expansion of that diagonal line up towards the sky. And if it's comfortable on the neck, we'll send the drishti so that it's gazing at the left fingertips. Holding here on the inhale and the exhale. more inhale. And exhale, bring our hands back into prayer. We'll take that on the other side. So left hand comes to the outside of the mat, sending the right hand back up towards the sky, creating that strong diagonal line, sending the drishti over the fingertips. One breath here. Holding for the inhale. And exhale, bringing the hands back into prayer. Here we'll bring the hands back to the mat, and option to step or float back into our high plank. Inhaling here, and exhaling into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhaling to downward facing dog. So we'll repeat that on the other side. Inhaling, the left leg comes back towards the sky. Exhaling, stepping the left leg through so the feet is in between the hands. Inhaling into our present lunge. Exhaling to spin the right heel down towards the mat so it's a 45-degree angle. Again, we want to try to keep the hips as square as possible. Create space in between the shoulders of the ears. So the shoulders are integrated further into the spine than they are hunched up. One more inhale. And the exhale, we'll bring the hands so that they interlace behind the back. This time, take the opposite thumb and pinky finger as what you had before, so it might feel a bit weird. Inhaling, trace the back leg, bringing in a slight back bend. Exhaling to humble warrior. So again, we can bring the belly towards the thigh, we can bring it to the full expression where the chest comes onto the inside of the left leg. Holding here for a couple of breaths. Next inhale, we'll bring ourselves halfway. Exhale, we'll bring the right hand so it's on the inside of the left foot, turning the right toes so that they're on the balls of the feet. Inhaling, left hand comes up towards the sky into our twists. And exhaling to stay. Inhaling to expand. Exhaling, taking that left hand to meet the mat, and walking onto our wide-legged position. And expand, so over half back to you. Okay, so we can repeat what we did before with the chaturanga hands so that they are parallel with the feet. Or if you prefer, we can take the peace fingers and the thumbs to the toes of each foot. Inhaling into halfway lift, in whichever variation you're taking. And exhaling to bring the chest through the legs energetically. Bending the elbows. Finding our grounding from the soles of the feet. One more breath here. And exhale. Inhale, we'll bring halfway lift. Exhaling, we want to take the right leg so that it's a slight micro bend in there, and then take the left hand into the center of the mat. Inhaling, take the right hand to the sky. If it's comfortable on the neck, sending that drishti along with it. Taking a couple of breaths here. We inhale, visualize the breath coming into the chest. Exhaling to feel that expansion as we settle. One more inhale. Exhaling, bringing the hand back down and walking back to the front of the mat. So inhaling into our runner's lunge. Exhaling, this time what we'll do is we'll take the right leg so that it meets the outside of the right foot. The left foot will be positioned so that it's on the outside of the left hand. And stepping down into our yogic squat once again. So we had quite a few different variations before. If you felt that you were really reaching your limit with the Supamalasana with the prayer hands and quite comfortable with just closing the eyes and gazing into the third eye. That's totally cool. If you felt like you quite enjoyed the expansions, then that's an option as well. Or we can come into an arm balance if you're feeling a bit funky. We'll go into our crow. If you're joining me with the crow, assess how strong your wrists are feeling today. If you're feeling quite tired or worn out, then maybe just sit it out and maybe just go into one of the variations that we looked at before. If you're joining me with crow or bakasana, then we're going to take the bum lifts, maybe step a little bit further onto the mat. Thumb is high, hands are grounded. Take the knees into either the tops of the elbows or into the armpits. And shifting the body weight forward slightly. Gazing at one point onto the mat. You might want to experiment with taking one ankle up, so taking the right ankle up and then placing it back down. Left ankle up, placing it back down. Or if you're feeling good with that, we can take both at the same time. Grounding into the hands. For 2, for 1, and sending back into Andalasana. How did we go? Try and speak quite quickly. So from here, we'll take the hands from the prayer and we'll send the hands back towards the mat and gently bring ourselves with the ball into the seat. It's not quite ready to rest yet, so we're going to come straight into an Navasana, a boat pose. So we can bring the feet slightly off the mat if that's where we'd like to go today. Otherwise we can bring the legs so that they're parallel with the mat. Or if we're feeling good, we can straighten and bring the hands so that they're parallel with the mat and holding for a few breaths. Chest is shining through. For 2, for 1. The next exhale, we'll take the right ankle so it crosses the left ankle, bringing ourselves into an egg-like shape. We're just going to take the hands onto either side and maybe see if you can lift the bum off the mat. We're coming for a second round, so we'll take the legs so that they're parallel with the mat, or straightening, and the hands come parallel. Again, we want to feel the back integrated. 3, 2, 1. Next exhale, we'll cross the feet in the opposite way, so this time the left ankle comes over the right ankle. Bringing ourselves curled up, activating the core as much as possible, grounding through the hands, and pushing ourselves up. I can do it earlier when I practice. And so we'll take the legs into a nice straight. You can have a little bit of a wiggle if that feels good. So we'll just spend a couple of breaths, feeling the core activated after all the work that we've done so far. Feeling the spine straighten, bringing the feet so that the toes are facing towards us in flex position. We'll come into a Paschimottanasana, our forward fold. So if we're not already there, options just scoop up the fleshy bits and sit onto the sit bones. This will help us with tilting our pelvis. Inhaling, bring the arms up overhead. Exhaling to fold forward over the legs, grabbing hold of whatever is available to us. So if that's the calves, excellent. If it's the ankles, amazing. If it's just the mat, great. Or if it's the sides of the feet, wonderful. Option to interlace the hands here, grab hold of the wrists. This is your practice. So inhaling to bring in some length into the fold. exhaling to see if you can deepen a little bit further, not compromising the integration of the spine. We'll keep that really straight rather than rounding it so that it can get further deeper, further into deep. Last breath here. Inhaling will come up, rise up, and exhale, gently releasing the hands, walking them back. It's a quick little counter pose. We'll bend the knees, bring ourselves back into that egg shape, sitting on the sit bones, finding that point of balance. Maybe closing down the eyes. Enjoy the flow. Bring the feet back towards the floor. We'll come into Janu Sirsasana. So here we'll take the left leg to straight. Right sole of the foot can come as far in to the left thigh as possible. Again, just making sure that we're sitting onto the hip bones. I like to sometimes grab a blanket or something to prop myself up so that I can create a bit of a tilt in the pelvis, if that's better for you. Inhale, we'll take the arms up overhead. And exhaling to pull forward. Again, grabbing hold of what's available, so that's the calf, mat, ankle, the foot, the wrist. And staying here. Feeling that alignment. One more breath here. Inhaling to halfway lift and exhaling to release. Bringing the arms back. So we're in the upright position. We'll move into Matsyendrasana now, so we can take the right foot, so it's meeting the outside of the left thigh, or close to the hip as we feel comfortable. Option to keep the leg so that it's straight with the feet flexed, or we can bend the knee into a bit of a funky seat, so that the left heel is meeting by the right hip, whatever is comfortable for you. And inhale, straightening the spine, bring the left hand out. Exhaling, bring a slight embrace, sending that right hand behind us. And if it's comfortable, bring in the drishti over the right shoulder. Option to bring the left hand so that it's propped against the right thigh, with the elbow against the right thigh, and this will allow us to go deeper into the twist. Few breaths here. Inhale, feeling that length. And exhale, feeling the depth. Next inhale, we'll bring ourselves back into center. We'll take a slight counter pose by twisting in the opposite direction. So feet, the hands come towards the mat, and we're moving with the chest forward, the body forward, as if we're going to kiss the floor. But don't kiss the floor. Yeah. Inhaling back up to center. Exhaling, we'll extend the left foot out, extend the right foot, maybe give it a little bit of a shake again. Move on to the other side, so we'll do the Janu Sirsasana where we extend the right foot, the right leg, the toes flexed. Left sole comes towards the right inner thigh. Again, just finding that high point in the sit bone so that it's allowing us to align ourselves and bring us directly over the right leg. Inhaling, bringing the arms up towards the sky. And exhaling to fold forward, to feel that melt. Janu Sirsasana translates literally to head to knee or head above knee, but I like to imagine it more like chin to shin, because that gives me an idea of the length that we want to be accomplishing here. One more breath. Inhale, and exhale slightly up. Exhale to release. Taking the Matsyasana on the other side. So left foot comes towards the outer right thigh. Again, option to keep that right leg straight, or we can bring the right heel close to the left hip. Inhale to find length in the spine, bringing the right hand out to the side, and exhale to bring ourselves into a side hug. Sending the left hand so it's behind us in the mat, sending the drishti over the left shoulder. Option to bring the right elbow so that it's propped against the left thigh. Inhaling into find length. Exhaling to simply release the twist. One more breath. Let's inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to center. And sending the twist to the other side in the exhale. So nice counter pose. Coming back towards kissing the floor. Inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to center. Exhaling, straightening that right leg, straightening the left leg. And then we'll bring ourselves back down to the mat, so bend the knees. See curling the spine as slowly as possible, vertebra by vertebra, all the way to the floor. So we're going to come into a bridge pose. Here we want to have the hands so that they're on the outside of the body. Legs hip distance apart. This is where your block might come in handy, so it might be good to have it close by if you feel it appropriate. In the inhale, we'll scoop up the lower spine up towards the sky, sending the spine slowly up to follow it so that we're creating weight onto the shoulders into our bridge pose. Rounding through the feet. Option to support the hips here by bringing the left and the right hand just slightly underneath the hips. Option to bring in the block, and you can rest on there instead if you want to take something a bit more restorative. Otherwise, we'll interlace the hands onto the mat, pushing slightly into the hands to create a little bit more. One more breath, yeah. And exhaling, slowly bring ourselves back down to the mat, vertebra by vertebra, as slow as we came into it. Once we're back onto the mat, we'll knock the knees in slightly, pigeon toe the feet so that the toes are slightly closer in than the heels. And allow ourselves to rest. And put back into that same pose, or if you'd like to follow into Vasana, would be more than welcome to, so that's half the opposite, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So we can go back into the bridge in the same way, or if you're following with me, we take the hands so that the fingers are facing towards our body, on either side of the ears. Elbows are pointing straight out towards the sky. Feet are still hip distance apart. On the inhale, we'll bring ourselves up so that we're on the crown of the head, pushing through the hips, and exhaling to push through the hands into our wheel. So whichever position you've taken, we'll stay with it for a few breaths, or as far as you feel comfortable. Sending the drishti to the mat. slowly rolling back down the spine. Again, you can send the knees so that they knock in towards each other. Hands come back towards the side of the body if you're in the other. So if there's any last movements you feel called to do, so it could be happy baby, it could be a shoulder stand, it could be a slight inversion where we take the legs into the air. Just take a few moments to explore those last movements. When we're ready, we'll bring the soles of the feet back to the floor. And then come into a supine twist. So we'll tilt the pelvis slightly to the left and drop the knees over to the right hand side, stacked up on each other. Right hand comes to the outside of the left thigh. And sending the left hand so we're stretched out, sending the drishti over those left fingertips. Option to close the eyes and just feel into the body, feeling the breath circulate. Next inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to center. Slowly and gracefully. This time we'll take it to the left hand side, so shifting the pelvis slightly to the right, so we can stack the knees and drop to the left. Bringing the left hand onto the right thigh, stretching the right arm out to the side, and gazing the drishti over the right fingertips. Next inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to center. And the exhale, we'll straighten the legs out. So left leg, right leg. Arms reach up towards the sky. Sorry, I mean with the arms down by the sides, palm reach. Oh, sorry. Apologies. Sorry about that. We'll close our eyes down if they're not there already into our Shavasana. So this is a really crucial time in the practice. It allows the body to integrate everything that's come in before. Brings physical alignment as well as energetic alignment. And the best way to experience it is in silence. So we'll just keep it quiet. We're allowing the breath to come back to a natural rhythm. We're not forcing it in any way, we're just observing it. There's no force. Only life force. push at all, we'll bring the arms up overhead to a stretch. Again, slowly moving on to one side. Taking a few moments here. When we're ready, we'll bring ourselves up slowly into our seated position. So keep the shoulders back, spine wide upright. I wanted to leave you with one of my favourite verses. It's by Rilke. It's translated by Joanna Macy, who's the legend of an ecologist. And I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not complete this last one, but I give myself to it. I circle around God, around the primordial tower. I've been circling for thousands of years, and I still don't know, am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song? Already, you can blink open the eyes if they're not there already. Bring the hands into prayer. And we'll sign off with an om together. On the inhale. Thanks so much for being here, for your energy. I hope that this brings you stillness in the twists and turns. Namaste. Namaste.
Deeply therapeutic.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah.
So grateful.
I'm grateful for all of you.
It's so nice to be here. That was just so good. So, yeah.
I always say it's not very nice to be
Well, I'm a bit of a homebody, so to drag myself in.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I say every day's a bad day.
It's true though, we might.
That was so incredible. That was so incredible. Thank you so
this morning went through and it's like, I'm pretty sure I've forgotten half of it, but it'll be right on the night, you know. So it was amazing.
Yes. All like the transitions and stuff, like they were so cool. Like when we were sort of going into, you know, different, like the wide-legged stand thing was so cool, and that you remembered the right leg and like everything
except
balanced.
for like sometimes being in the highland when you're actually supposed to be in a highland, sending your palms to the sky and
It's so, like so minor compared to what you just created.
I didn't pick up anything.
No,
Yeah,
I was just seamless. But there were times I was like, I'm pretty sure hand was supposed to come out of my mouth, but foot did, so so many lesson rights and
I just loved, that transition into like this kind of groovy spot at the front of the mat. It's like, hang on, we came from this journey to end up there, and it was just so well planned, but effortless. Like,
And like linking that, like that language throughout. It's like, you know, the twists and turns through life, and then we're doing all these like beautiful twists and movements and like, I'm like, wow.
I can't wait to see yours.
It's brilliant.
it was.
Magical.
Everybody think I'm sun cutting?
Sunny.
Yeah, it feels
I just feel so.
I needed that. Yeah, that was amazing.
Thank you.
I also don't know what to do. It's weird being on the receiving end, hey, when people are telling you nice things and you're like,
You've got a fair bit more to go, Grace, so you're just going to have to put up with it for a bit.
There's more coming.
Definitely.
Born teacher.
Yeah, definitely. And you were so articulate, and, you know, in describing everything and what to do. And it was just so natural for you. Just like you've been doing it forever.
it's weird how you, like, the idea of doing something sometimes is like, and then when you're actually doing it, you kind of get into like
The
a
zone.
flow.
You're so in the zone and the flow and just holding it.
Have to
Live up to that, you bitch.
Live up to. There's little ones in the room.
Yeah, oh sorry, sorry. No, that's a lot to live up to. It was really so good. Yeah, thank you. And I feel so good. You feel good?
I feel like someone is playing with me. The walls really hard.
Okay. Is that how your body feels now?
That's the point.
Like putty? Yeah.
Silly honey.
Silly.
I think your pace throughout it all was like really consistent and it was really beautiful. I think one thing I really valued was like
See?
your pauses in between like certain transitions are actually allowing time. Alright, you know, like just enjoy a bit of a float. I was like, oh yeah, good. Nice. So it's like those little attention to detail, like getting the hands and like the right bend of the knees and really explaining those steps and how it was so clear. And I love the transition from like Warrior 1 back bend, forward bend, and then, I think it was creative, but it wasn't too complicated.
Yes.
You know, it flowed really well. It was easy to follow.
Creative and easy, that's all I want.
And giving us time as well in some of those transitions. Because sometimes you get these creative flows and it's just like, oh, and then you're here, and then you're there, and then it's like, you're lost, you know? It's really...
Yeah, we got a chance to breathe.
The pace was perfect.
It was.
Absolutely perfect. And you know, there were no points where it sort of sped up subtly or whatever. It was just a perfect transition, like from pose to pose, and
And the breath, the indications of the, like, you're consistently throughout, it's like inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. It was just really great to hear that, those cues.
Thank you. Yeah.
But,
It's like the things that you appreciate in the class yourself, you know.
Yes, that's true.
and reminders about integration of the spine, and you know, if we started with just reminders to kind of place the hands back where it's where we're getting the most support. You know, just those reminders and don't bend your spine.
so impressed.
I mean, I like follow it on Tuesday, and I've literally practiced it every day since. So it's embodied.
And also the Sanskrit without overdoing it, like just knowledgeable about the terminology, but without kind of overdoing that. It was just kind of, you could be a beginner and do it, or you could be someone that understands the drishti, or it was really.
But definitely knowledgeable with the Sanskrit.
Yes.
Definitely picked that up. It just seemed really natural, just flowed off the tongue. So, but like these guys said, felt like a strong class, but like these guys said, we had space to do the poses and breathe and integrate the pose, with the breath and the stretch, and it was really beautiful. Really awesome.
Yeah, and when you there were these spaces where even though it was say a bit of a simple pose, and then you're building your way up to the more complicated poses, it wasn't like that kind of, oh yeah, we're going to do all these fancy things. It's like you valued each of the different levels, and and like as you were saying, those just little indicators. And it's if you feel these are the benefits here and these are the benefits here. It wasn't like, oh yeah, well if you're cool enough, then you
And you're in the VIP section. And
it was cool.
It felt like a really natural progression through.
Yeah.
Even though it was a strong class, it didn't feel sort of like we were going unnaturally from one sort of easy kind of flow to it.
Not strong, but not too intense. It was just kind of that strong, gentle flow. If that even makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be.
I'm loving our popcorn feedback.
Okay, where is the popcorn?
Let's get to the important stuff. Yeah.
I agree with everyone's feedback. But the one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed was the shavasana and the music that you picked for it.
Well, actually, Mickey picked that, but it just it was very fortuitous that it was John Hopkins at the same time, and I know that I know that song like the back of my hand. So, know how many minutes it is, and I was like, oh my god, if this works out nicely, then I feel 2/3 of the song start producing it, and then it will be finished by the time that it finishes, and so.
It was perfect, and it was such it set that mood to just lie there and be with yourself and integrate, the asanas, and just it was such it tied it all together.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually planning on doing a Nandishadana afterwards, but then I thought, don't really want to rush it, and
It's very polished.
One thing that I wasn't sure about was with saying if there was any last movements, suggesting things, and because I didn't want to make it a pose, I didn't want to go into the whole step by step of doing headstand, shoulder stand, but also that sometimes people want to do that, so picking that up, thinking about that. So,
Sorry, what
if I'm thinking about if that was a point for me to make that I wasn't sure if that felt it was sat right.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I mean I often do that. Because I guess with particularly the shoulder stand, as we know, there's quite a bit involved if you haven't done it before. That you've either got to take the steps and demonstrate and break it down and almost workshop it or not. It's hard to get it in between. It's come up to shoulder stand. I mean, you can do that too, I guess, but I think it's good just to be able to just say, well, maybe or you've got a shoulder stand in your practice, you can
Just a minute.
fully guided in the sense that at no point did I feel left, adrift. But then there was that opportunity at the end. If you do want to do a shoulder stand, well, do it. But without sort of the stuff, because sometimes workshopping can just break that flow. I felt like I was in a trance all the way through it. It was just so beautifully staged, so beautifully kind of seamless. It was great.
Yeah, and that's a good point actually, because often, depending on the way you've chosen to teach the class, it can be more of an instructional class where you decide to actually break things down and make it educational in that way, teaching people how to get into postures, or more just like a beautiful flow, which is just get into that flow without having to think so.
I mean, the actual physical practice and the flow was really nice, but the space that you held as well. I wasn't in a sensitive state, so it's like I felt like throughout the whole time I was feeling like, oh, this is the grace. Because it was so gentle. Because there were so many times where I just was just having this fuck it moment, and I was just I just want to stop.
Yeah.
But then it was every time I kind of went there, I just felt like your voice, you would say something, and then you kind of just pull me back into it. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, no, that's what I kind of wanted to feel like, because I think, last week when you were doing yours on Zoom, I just had such a run-in with, I think everyone probably experienced that same sense of things just going ski whiff, and so I ended up just taking a mental health day and thinking what would make me feel good if I were on the opposite end of that, where you're kind of it's a sensitive time, and thank you, it's really also thanks for your feedback.
The Peanut Gallery would like to say that was magnificent.
Well, thank you, Pam.
The cues were incredible, and your knowledge with it was amazing. Everything everyone else has said as well. But the cues and your just the natural knowledge and the names that you with the asana poses. Yeah, that was brilliant. Well done. Congratulations, teacher.
I appreciate that.
Pardon?
I appreciate that. I appreciate your words.
Thank you. I appreciate the class. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Grace. I mean, that was the thing that really struck me, was just that you didn't ever drop to the breath cues. The breath cues, you continue doing those, and they set such a beautiful rhythm throughout. And it meant that even, not being in the room, and we could sometimes, my thing was cutting in and out. It didn't kind of really matter that I couldn't see you, because even just hearing you, I knew what to do and I knew what you were doing. And the breath cues sort of kept that pace. So yeah, it was amazing. It was really gorgeous. And I loved, who was the quote by that you said at the end?
Oh, it's a Rilke poem.
Oh, right.
I think he's Austrian, but it's translated by Joanna Macy, she's quite a well-known sacred economics ecologist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a book of them actually called A Year with Rilke, and it's 365 poems, which are they're just like that. They're just 2 or 3.
Incredible, yeah. But what I loved about it is that you shared the poem, and then you didn't tell us all what to think about the poem. You just shared the poem, and then just let it, absorb into the space, into the energy in the room, and so on. That was really, really nice.
Thank you, Rilke. Yeah, it's one of my all-time faves for that reason.
Yeah.
Grace, that was incredible. I felt transported to another world. What Philippa said, the breath cues gave it a very rhythmic quality, which made it very easy to just let go of your thoughts and go along with it. It was very, very authentic. I felt like you provided a lot of authority in a really good way. Yeah, it was amazing. I would love it if I rocked up to a yoga class and that's what I got, I'd leave very happy.
Thank you, Elena.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I love the pace of it as well. I felt like there was space in between each movement without it dragging on or without letting restlessness creep in. There was enough to make it dynamic, and you know, we got around to a lot of poses in that time, covered a lot of ground, but at the same time I felt like there was such spaciousness. So very well done.
Yeah, it's excellent. And also, Grace, thanks for sharing like what you put into it in terms of the preparation. You know, because it's sort of, because it did look so professional, it looked so easy, and you didn't need your notes, but it was, as you said, like you sort of, you know, you took a day off to focus, you practiced it every day, you know, and it shows. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, because I think that's, you know, it's sort of good for the ones who haven't done it before to hear like what it takes to actually pull something off like that. You know, it's just an incredible standard.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's like the taking a day off. Like if I'd had to do it last week, I probably would have been a mess. So yeah, there's an element of like definitely needing, definitely needing time and space for it. So.
I mean, that's a good point. Taking that time off and making those preparations and practicing. But I'd like to also add that I know with Grace that she's solid in the practice. I see that coming every week to class religiously, and I can see that this is her passion. She's living it. She's truly living it, and so that just shows. It's now fully shining through. So beautiful to see that.
I'm feeling it. Really feeling it. Thank you. Oh, I feel a bit emotional.
You're living it so well that you're making some of the mistakes that really good teachers make.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You're mixing up sometimes some of your body parts. And things, which is what I do all posture names.
Well, I was kind of hoping that the opposite would happen.
I lunge instead of I plank times, and then I was thinking, does she realise? And then you corrected yourself. And so it's like, okay, she's just doing that thing that she knows it so well, like I do. That you sometimes just the wrong name comes out. Same as your sit bones, you used to do that for the hip bones as well. And then on the other side, you corrected yourself. So okay, well she knows what she's talking about. She's not getting it wrong, but she doesn't know. It's just one of those things that happens.
I was kind of hoping the opposite would happen, that with time I wouldn't make those mistakes, because you know when you're just thinking about the left and your right and your right and your left so much that you just like, oh,
it's just so much though. I think so much to think about.
Like how sometimes I forget, like sometimes I just go somewhere for a few minutes and I forget what I was talking about.
Oh mate, that only gets worse when you get older.
Welcome to life, right? It's kind of hard to convey just how clever all that was, and I've come to know how much thought you put into your transitions, but it's gentle. It doesn't seem, I think everyone said this, but I just want to kind of underline the point. It's very approachable, but when you actually think it through, even as you're doing the practice, you realise, well, you get some idea of just how clever and thoughtful it is. So that's a real gift to your teaching style. I think many of us wish we could have actually pressed pause and written down what you did at various points.
Well, there is a Zoom recording, so
It's recorded, you'll get the link.
And just for the real quick verse too, it's lovely. I've often thought of that kind of metaphor for life, of circles continually expanding as we rise in age, and therefore our outlook expands further. So to know that Pastor Bill had thought of it a long time ago is gratifying.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he loves the book as well.
Yeah, I've heard of it too, so I'll have to look it up.
I've got a copy. We'll talk about it.
Thank you. That's tremendous. I won't do that anymore.
I think for those of us, sorry Matt,
No, it's
for those of us yet to come, it's both terrifying and inspirational. So, you know, equal parts and maybe a little more terrifying than inspirational.
Let's go with the latter, because I was definitely looking at everybody who's been before and being like, fuck! Sorry. I mean, oh no, people sick. So, yeah, I definitely, like, yeah, it's just the time aspect, I think, more than anything else.
Love the verse as well. Love it.
Yeah.
And want to nick that one.
Yeah,
Not a verse I can think of that I want to use now, but yeah.
You'll feel better next week, Sue, when I do mine. I'll lower that bar for you, don't worry.
No, Pam.
We don't believe you.
It was just gorgeous in the half hour. So.
Yeah, I think it's good because I sort of reflect on that sometimes where I have these feelings and it's sort of that like kind of ego thing of like, oh, you know, I'm not good enough or I'm not as good as these people. It's like that comparison, which is sort of connected to competition. Whereas I keep just kind of coming back to like really admiring like the strengths of others and the strengths in this room and not needing to then undermine my own strengths, but just being able to appreciate you and everyone else fully. I think that's really helped me when I get those thoughts of like, oh God. It's just like, no, that was beautiful, full stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compliment each other, not compete against each other.
Exactly.
And empowering as well. It's very empowering, I think, you know, the group that we're in, I feel nothing but supported so badly. So how can you find that that competitive edge kind of dissolves when you know, I think you've literally seen me like pour buckets from my face for like 5 hours and I've just felt like totally held by that. So once you felt like that level of rawness, then you know, there's that sense of like people only really want the best. You know, like,
and you're held in this space, like this container. I feel like even if you kind of do maybe not exactly how you want these things to look or whatever, like I just feel like we're held. You know, even when I've made mistakes, I haven't felt like, you know, I'm so like it's not coming from the space. Like I feel support, like this, Does that make sense?
The difference, it makes you even more aware that it is your ego that's telling you that I'm not good enough story, right?
Totally.
I read, coincidentally, a book, Shogun Trungpa book chapter last night on that very thing.
Oh, I love that. Can you share that with me?
Well, yeah, sure. It's in the spiritual materialism book he writes. It's all about how our ego gets in the way of our spiritual pursuits, I suppose. It's substantially what it's about. Like, I keep reading chapters and thinking, that's me, that's being me, that's me. I've still got to deal with that, yes. It's quite remarkable and how it just, well, it's that Buddhist thing of shining a mirror at you, basically. He tends to do that in his writing, he just puts a mirror out there.
I love that.
And that was the line, it's about how self-deprecation kind of stuff is. And of course, it's delivered with that sort of tantric Buddhism, hard compassion, good humour but hard compassion at the same time. And that's the line, it's the ego. So even telling yourself that you're not good enough or saying that you're not good enough is your ego getting in the way.
As much as the kind of traditionally.
Of course, because ego is fear-based. So. But it is like when you mentioned the mirror thing. Well, it's also the mirror that we're looking at Grace and thinking she's amazing, but we all have it in us, you know. We do. So, and you know, we all have our own essence and our own style and specialness, but we're all kind of the same. So So I'm looking at you, and I was thinking that because I get that what you say, like, oh my God, the self-deprecating thing, but also after watching that initiation episode last night that I mentioned in our feed on Gaia, I recommend it. Like it was like, yes, we're unified. So I'm looking at you going, I could do that too, maybe differently, but I have it in me, you know. So there's that side of the coin too. It is. We're all amazing. And today you're just absolutely absolutely spectacular.
All right, let's have lunch.
I think that
And,
I think you're lying.
thank you, Grace. 10 to 2, 10 to 3, 10 to what?
What time?
10 to,
Just on 10 to.
so
10
come
to
back at
2.
10 to 3.
3. Okay, all right.
Pam, did you dye your hair?
Going to the cafe?
Oh, she's gone.
No, I'm here. Yes, I had to because my nephew was getting married today.
Oh wait, I can't. Speaking is like from here, so I can't hear you very well.
My nephew was supposed to be getting married today. My nephew.
I think you're gonna just write me a message on Facebook. Yeah.
Last night I was walking into a restaurant and they told me off.
Yeah.
Don't we sit down and take it off?
Oh, you're gonna make it big.
Everyone's still very cranky.
I told someone the other day I have an exemption and he was like, he was only 1%. And when I actually got in, everyone outside was like, there's someone in there with
I don't care if I take an extra sick day.
Take all your sick days.
Take all your sick leave.
Jacinta,
Oh, sorry.
sorry, since you're closest to the computer,
Yes.
can you just every now and then check, because the others might be popping in as well?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
need to
So are they not in
let
yet?
them
Oh, who are we waiting for?
Philip, oh no, Philip is coming, isn't she? She's coming here. But Beth
just
was
make
going
sure.
to.
Oh,
was
Beth,
maybe.
yeah.
Actually, I'll leave it for a while.
She didn't tell me this was actually a sick leave at work, so I used to donate sick leave so you can have it if you run out. She didn't tell me that. It's lovely, but my colleague who I love told me, and I was like, well, I didn't know that, and I've just been taking unpaid leave and COVID payments from the government. Because I was surprised, but I didn't want to, I had to go and get a test, because it was just when things were kicking off again, and I thought, well, I just want to be responsible. And so I got the payment.
That payment is good. I got that payment.
Yeah, it's really good. If they do have to contact your work to find out if you work there, so I was thinking she'll know that I got that, but it's good because, you should actually be paying for sick leave.
I don't know if anything else on that.
Because how it says someone who can verify that you work there.
If you send a pay slip, you send to all the documents like while there was an hours.
Anyway, it was my work
Oh my god, you need to. I don't know. I'm so sad for both of them. Wanting to go into a workplace.
I've actually been getting things recently about like. Because I also was the times that all I wanted to do was work with something like gallery, just and then I got it. And like, this is fix that for teaching English, you know, like.
Hey, at least letting you know, and you gave it a go.
Yeah, no,
It's all
like,
about
I
experience.
like we were saying about before, about like some people just don't know, like, it's even when you grow up, like you create your outlet, and you work in the field that you really so nice, until you do it, and it's like, I've got hectic scripts to do.
Because I work in this field all the time, stare at a screen all day and give everything. And I don't want to read a book at night. It's me. I got this a few years ago. I got this very glamorous job at the Office for Women. I thought I'd be, you know, telling women, you know, achieve qualities that things with behaviour, family goals, and this and that. And it was so toxic. The environment was so toxic. And I was like, you don't know until you've done it that it's not actually what you want. Like, or it's not trying to necessarily help you.
Also, when we make goals externally, like I was so, I was like, oh, I need to
So
get
page 297 in my book, I don't know you guys.
You just need to be internally.
So taking care of yourself is so simple. And then the other shoot.
But it does let it as much as
Love you guys.
I brought everything but my.
Oops. Do you need anything? I'm so proud of myself. I brought a pen. I brought a notebook. I got a notebook.
4, 3, 11.
I have a notebook, but I don't have mine.
Oh, we can share it. Yeah. Easy. Yeah, Valley. No, you can have it.
Balances. Arm balances represent strength, grace, courage, and mental focus. Balancing poses help us connect with the present moment. When we add the challenge of balancing on our hands or arms instead of our feet, the level of mental focus required increases. Arm balances can also help to increase feelings of self-confidence, courage, and inner strength. And they're a playful way of approaching our practice and our bodies with a sense of curiosity, fun, youthfulness, and limitlessness.
Sorry, Mickey, which page was it?
297 in my book,
Or
311 in other books.
311.
297 in mine.
Here we go. We got it.
Got guidelines for teaching.
Sorry, yeah.
You got the new
I do.
Arm balances for different levels of practice. There are many different arm balances to choose from. The unique way we teach in summer healing allows students to work through kramas, so the students can safely understand the foundation of the asana and how each one is built. A key component for arm balance is a strong core. That's what we need, isn't it? You also need to build up strength and stability in the wrists and explore your sense of courage and playfulness. There's an arm balance available for all different levels. It's certainly true that some of these poses rely mainly on muscle area, but others rely more on flexibility, body positioning, and leverage rather than on brute force. When you understand how to complement your strength with flexibility and leverage, these arm balances lose their mystique. When you can work towards mastering, they demand effortless attention, effortless effort. They build strength in your arms, shoulders, chest, abdomen, and back. They promote deep flexion of your trunk and hips, enhance strong spine twisting, and increase your mental focus. In addition, arm balances can increase mind-body strength. Arm balances help us overcome challenges through insight, consciousness, and patience. Mastering poses you once thought were impossible, you naturally start to wonder what other impossibilities you might be able to overcome.
That's a beautiful
Bandhas used, Hasta Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha. What other bandhas could we use in arm balances?
Oh, you said Hastabandha. I suppose Hadabandha as well.
I was actually mostly Hasta Bandha with SEVA. But yeah, Hadabandha is...
Oh, if you were on your side doing this, like that one, you'd have to have a bit
like a Vashisthasana.
I don't know.
Side step.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Bakasana gets easier if you
I know it all.
I just thought about that.
Before you head up.
But you're meant to actually have the feet down as well, so you
They look like 297 or page 311, one or the other.
It actually helps me get the hips aligned properly.
And I think the whole picture, part of arm is so even before you go into it, you try to you engage in part of arm, which brings in the all arm and then you're ready to lift and the other arm.
Your feet would still be engaged even if you're meditating. It's like
True.
I find in headstands if my feet are relaxed, it's almost like I don't feel as stable as I have to activate my feet to like reach to the ceiling. Otherwise I won't feel unstable everywhere else as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's just helping to headstand, it's like doing Tadasana upside down. It's often the way I like to remind people is you're still engaging all your Tadasana elements, but upside down.
And just as easy.
So a few arm balances including Lolasana and Tolasana. Most of your body weight hangs from your shoulders. These poses demand a lot of strength in the upper arms, shoulders and chest as well as in the abdomen and legs. Do we know those ones? Lolasana and Tolasana? Pendant pose and scales pose?
Scales I do, pendant I don't.
I forget which one.
Well, this is scales. I think you actually did scales in your last race. You're meant to do lotus, but I can't do lotus. So you just add this just next to your hips.
Tolasana, yeah, that's Tolasana.
Then you, yeah.
Hey,
Well done.
Hey.
Nice air time.
You just have to lean back, basically.
Does that also count the length of your arms, or is it like?
It's great for the sides of the body.
I find my hands really just touch the ground most.
It definitely helps that one. Having longer arms makes it
That's
easier.
the secret.
That's
I think it could be, I have to double check.
Lolasana
Maybe
is-
someone Google Lolasana.
It's like
is it the
I-
leg straight, that one? Or
You kind of just, I
what's the
can't
ones
do
with
it.
the
You
arms
kind of
sitting?
have your cross, might be through there, but it's like this, but you have your, unlike crow, you can't have your legs crossed and you're meant to swing like a pendant across. I can't do it. I'll try.
Oh, this is cool.
You sure?
Not gonna happen today.
Lolasana.
Does it happen that way?
Yeah. Lolasana is the
It's
pendant,
hands
yeah,
not here, it's
you're
a
right.
jumper today.
Yeah,
So
It's
Lolasana
hands
is
not here.
I always do because I feel I should be able to do it. But I can't. Oh, okay, so it's like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I'll try it.
Oh, yes,
Just like
yeah.
that.
Just, yeah.
just like that.
Just lift the legs
The
and
thing is-
swing. As you do.
Isn't it funny because it actually looks so easy when you do it? It actually looks very easy, even though it's the opposite.
And Tolasana, like Grace showed us, but ultimately in full lotus. That's right, Tolasana.
It's easier in full lotus. If you can get your.
It is actually easy. If you can get into full lotus, then you're locked in.
But you just have to get into a full lotus.
And another version is actually have the arms between in through there. So
I didn't use this one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm off the ground.
But if you.
The lotus and all.
My arms are so short that I was off the ground.
I used to actually do that really years ago, but I can't do it at all now. I need to practice, obviously.
Oh my god, I can actually.
It's the lotus.
it's not as hard as you think. is it?
Really?
You can do the lotus. If you can't do the lotus, it's really hard. You can do the lotus. It's doable.
Yeah.
So Lolasana is that, but keeping it up.
There you go, Gabby. So,
Well done.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to start calling you Gab. My sister, it's triggering. My sister used to call me Flabs in high school. She'd grab my belly and be like, Flabs.
Yeah, there's a lot of flow there. Yeah.
That's all nice.
But in most arm balances, you support most arm balances. So in those, you're supporting yourself with your hanging away from your shoulders. But most arm balances, you support yourself by placing one or both legs on your upper arms. In some of these poses, like Titipasana and Bakasana. Titipasana, anyone know what that one is?
I know what it is, but I certainly can't do it.
Is it legs over shoulders and standing?
Firefly.
That one.
Can you do
Yeah.
that? Like, you can do
Oh,
that.
I
Like,
can
can
do
you?
it with 2 blocks, but not like.
Can you do that, Mickey?
I can't, no.
Really?
I mean, I can do it, but not with my legs straight.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh,
wow.
One more surprise for you.
I'm going to attempt that. I'm just happy lying on my tummy.
So
It is awesome, isn't it?
talking of kramas, you can do
We all
Brahma in Chittibhasana, where you just do that, which is also in kids yoga, it's the spider pose. But that's doable for someone. Between the legs. So we're bringing the upper arm to the inner thigh. Upper arm to the inner thigh. It's that connection, I think.
Just even. Just want to stretch at the moment. I'm like, I feel like you put belly to the chocolate.
I can't get my wrists to like. That was like lots were helping. Like this way, I can't get my wrists to like lean in that position.
Yeah.
We'll try it. So it's right.
Yeah, do it maybe like that. Yeah. This is the easy way. And you can just like.
Oh yeah.
For short arms people, yeah.
Because I can't, it's just the flexibility of the wrist that doesn't do that.
I think I'm cheating.
I'm coming up on my.
Oh yeah, I can do it like that as well.
Oh well, it still looks impressive. So we'll just go
doing
do
a hasta bandus though.
The danger there is if you kind of slip or something, you could injure your tongue.
Yeah.
So it's certainly not a way to encourage something to teach people that way.
It's easier though.
Which is what we're going to be running away. Putting your hands running away.
No.
Flat.
Using the thumb
Oh, right.
rather than
flat. Yeah.
It's the only way I keep it up is to kind of perch a little bit. It's like very stable.
With them behind you. I used to do that in the wild all the time. Just have like fingers like this. Imagine this. It's so much easier.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm swinging all over the place.
What do we find that we need to get into that pose?
Sorry.
What are the elements that we're needing?
You need core strength
Core strength
Upper body
and
strength.
upper. Yeah.
there.
Up there. Yeah.
Wrists.
Wrists. Yeah, definitely. Better start on all those other ones then.
Sorry.
You need like leg strength and flexibility too.
That's where flexibility comes in.
Yeah.
And I think also shape the hips. That's the one.
Oh yeah, it is. I'll tell him to lower it. Are you sure?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, for example, I can't straighten my legs in Tikkipasana. It's probably a combination of maybe not flexible enough, but also the shape of my hips as well. And Bakasana, of course, is crow pose. Actually, technically, it's
No, the crane.
crane.
Is that the one where it's right under the armpits?
Well, that's that. Yeah. What's crow pose then? Anyone know?
Why isn't one bent and one straight?
Yeah, pretty much. But in Sanskrit, crow pose.
Oh.
And look, this is one of those things that gets very mixed up, and people mix them up all the time and call them, say, Bakasana is crow. And it's just one of those technicalities. It's not really a big deal, but I was confused for a long time too, so I'm into it. Bakasana is crane.
Well, on the next page it says crow pose is Bakasana.
Well, I got it wrong.
Bakasana?
And no, Kakasana. Kakasana is
Crow.
crow.
And
With a K?
I've heard that because it actually has the corporal sound as well, so it's kind of like on here. Yeah, that's fun.
So what's Bakasana? I'm sorry.
So Bakasana is the crane, and Kakasana is your crow. So what's the difference between a crane and a crow? The difference in the arms. So when the arms are bent like that, it's a crow. It's a Kakasana. When the arms are straight, it's a crane. It's a Kakasana. Bakasana. Bakasana. Kakasana. Bakasana. Kakasana. bending the elbows into Kakasana. And Bakasana. I was there for a moment.
I can see why people get it mixed up.
Just stay there so we analyse the technique.
Now, what we often see in Bakasana and Kakasana is this as the other variation of Kakasana. The elbows to the inner thighs. And look, it's easier for a lot of people to do this. And I think, again, depending on the shape of hips, just the various sort of dimensions of one's body, that maybe technically for some people getting the knees to the backs of the upper arms and lifting up isn't necessarily available. So sometimes you need to go slightly to the outside with the knees, but we're aiming to bring the knees to the upper arms rather than to the outside. So there rather than there. But if your body's not able to, then that's the next step. But the danger with that variation is that people end up doing this. Bend the elbows that way, open nice and wide, and what's happening here to some of my joints?
Your back is curved? No.
Your knees overextending.
And your wrist also is out of alignment.
Wrists, that's what I was looking for. Wrists, I'm creating that obtuse angle, which is not ideal for the wrists. So you always want to try and have your elbows above the wrists, particularly when we're putting a lot of pressure in there for an arm balance. Elbows over the wrists. So if the knees don't come to the back of the upper arms, if they need to be on the outside, still try to keep those elbows over the wrists. Once you can get the knees there, it's actually easier. That, for me personally, is harder than that, because obviously I've got a ledge there that I can rest my knees on. Once I'm there, once I create that balance, stay for a while there. Oh, I need a lot more strength in shoulders and core to hold that. So let's have a little try. Bakasana and Kakasana. And think about all those variations. Try them all, even the bad ones, just let's see how it feels. And if you are challenged with it, then maybe using blocks, even in this one, because with the blocks in this one, it's less. One of the challenges is to lift the feet off the ground and find that balance, so you don't have to lift as high. The body's already off the ground.
It's like acupressure on your steps.
Yeah, that's what I often find harder.
So that's where your bandhas really come in.
Because you
Your
hold
bandhas,
like
kind of like you're lifting.
Yeah.
I can't take my feet off.
Was that a crow?
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
So, is that what a lot of us are finding, that the pressure in the arms of the legs is difficult? Okay, so if you were, so another pose is of course handstand, which requires a bit more practice to really, won't be able to master that one today. But if you were coming into a handstand, and if you were, let's say, doing, needing to come into one from this point here, so if you're going to come into a handstand with both feet together, coming up at the same time, I mean, it's one thing lifting one leg up, but if we have to go both feet off the floor at the same time, what we would do is kind of like a donkey kick, Donkey kick, we kind of So try that donkey kick. You don't have to stand, you don't have to get up, but just the action of that donkey kick. And consider what are the muscles you're engaging to create that donkey kick.
Feels like everything. Feels like the arms, the legs, the core.
The core and the bundles that you're using to kick off the ground. So now, when you do your crane or your crow, think of that donkey kick action, the muscles that you use, without you're not donkey kicking up, you're kind of coming into it and then lifting up. So engaging the bundle, so it's almost like you're trying to not even have the knees on the backs of the upper arm, they're just there to stabilise, but you're not pressing the weight into the backs of the upper arms. You're using your bundles to lift you up.
And I can press my head on the bolster.
You can use the bolster. That's a good option. Right? Do you feel the difference?
Is there something else in terms of where you space your hands? Like, if you're too far in front, it's sort of too much of you've missed your kind of point of equilibrium, or your hands should be maybe closer to your feet. So.
Yeah, good point again, but it's all about, again, getting, you want your forearms eventually to be perpendicular to the floor. So that's really what you're aiming for. And so then it's finding that equilibrium between the weight of the front and the back of the body, and just fine-tuning that balance. So it shouldn't really matter. I mean, but if it's too far ahead, it'll be more difficult to get up. So you want, if anything, you want the hands to be directly underneath, so that before you even kick the feet off the floor, you're bringing the forearms perpendicular to the floor. See, before I even lift my feet off the floor, my Hasta-Bandha on, and then the equilibrium's there, and I just lift up. Engage the bandhas to almost have the knees not even pressing into the upper arm, just resting there.
Can you do a handstand?
Not very well.
Do we have a look?
We'll get to that.
I like the show and tell us this.
Yeah.
It's better coming up.
There's more.
Crowns to see the crowns.
Yes.
How are Pam and Lena doing with their cranes online? You're having a crack?
Yeah, I am. Sorry, my internet's really slow, so I've turned the video off. But I'm trying my best.
Good one. And I mean, it's interesting. They say here, there's different arm balances we can do for different levels, but that's about the entry level there, really.
Yeah.
I can't think of an arm balance that's easier than that.
You know the
I
one.
mean, for some, maybe a handstand.
You know that one where you kind of and you build up to it, but it's like that, but you're sticking your legs out the side. Yeah, so I've been able to do that at retreats, but still I find crow really, really challenging.
Okay.
What is
So I don't know why.
Can you do it?
I can't do it
with the
right
legs
now.
out and
The legs go to one side,
Oh, is that the next
so you
one?
kind of build
Oh
up
yeah,
to
that
it.
one.
The
So
side
with the
close.
different with the
I know
different
something about-
steps, sometimes I can get into that one. Like if I'm at like a retreat or something, but I've just never been able to get into it.
Is that the 8-angle one, or the one with the legs are either
No,
way?
I think she's talking about Ekapana, Kundinyasana. There's an A and there's a B.
Yeah.
So it's not the next one in the book.
No,
On the next
that'll be
page.
no, that's the 8-point thing. What's it called?
Side crow.
Ashtabakasana. No, that's wrong. It's
That's supposed to. What is that?
wrongly aligned. That really. Harsvabakasana. What is side crow? Anyone?
Pasta Kakasana. Kakasana.
Where you lift up with your knees together on triceps so that your trunk is twisted. Kind of like, I'm not going to get it right. That.
So for some, side crow actually could be easier than actual crow. Right? For some. Let's try side crow. So with the side crow, your clasp, the higher up you are in the upper arm, like if you've just got the elbow in there, that's going to be tricky to get the balance. So if you can slide down and get the upper arm as far up on it and as far down the thigh, then you've got a better edge to lift up on. Yeah, that's right. For me, this is a lot easier than crow.
This is fine.
My arm can't even reach down to
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Nice.
Well, hang on, maybe I'm going the right way. Hang on, I'm still first up, like a crouching down.
What are some of the other muscles that are
Oh
coming
yes,
into play
and
there?
then do it like from there.
Definitely.
Do you put your hands straight
Yeah,
up?
definitely.
Yeah.
And then from there you can just like lean forward. And just lean forward without actually like trying to lift your feet.
Oh, okay.
And just put the weight on your elbows.
Oh, yeah, I know. Like that.
I feel like for me there's less, like, my ability to do a pose is quite dependent on the risk of me falling on my face. So if the risk is smaller, then I'm more able to do it. And crow is definitely like, there's a lot of potential to fall on your face compared with the side crow, so maybe that's one reason. The other one
And
is
that's
like
with the
dragonfly.
extension,
I feel like
Yeah, so that's the one.
the minimum aspect of falling on your face, so that's a lot easier. I think that's actually easier than the crow.
Low stakes.
And then like just as you
Yeah,
straighten
yeah. Like if you fall, you just fall on your throat. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, well, that's where the emotional aspect of courage
again,
comes
Yeah.
Ashtavakrasana.
Yeah.
Dem?
Okay. So
Ashtavakrasana, the 8-point.
you have to grip your leg. Like they say, the easiest is to grip your tricep with your knee.
Is this an arm balancing one as well?
Yeah. And then you like hold your leg. You like squeeze your arm to get that stability. And then you'll cross your feet. And as you just try to push your legs straight, you'll feel like like as that you do that motion, you'll like automatically come forward. And the momentum will swing your body. And just bend your arms and like the grip of your legs kind of.
What?
I think the cue's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Helpful, but like, is that arm? Yeah, like it's just squeezing when you it's like squeezing of the knees.
But rather than
Yeah,
closing
that's
yourself
it.
in, try to open yourself up.
I feel as if it could happen. Except yeah, like it's holding your pee and you're like.
It's really easy. It's much easier on one side than it's on the other.
Yeah.
One side I have no idea. Yeah, maybe actually. My left arm is stiff, basically. So.
Oh. Arm balances are
Pushing the feet away.
honest, aren't they? Well, they're funny. I don't even know if we get the beginning of it.
Ashtavakrasana. Ashtavakrasana.
Oh, Ashka.
Ashta.
Ashta.
It's the 8-pointed pose.
But the 8 point is Ashta, right? So
Vakrasana.
yeah.
What does Vakra mean? Good point. Good point. 8-angle pose, sorry.
So is this 8 angled?
Ashta.
8
Ashta
pointed.
is 8 and Vakra must be angle.
Okay, so the whole pose means
Yeah,
that 8
it's Ashtavanasana is side angle. Ashtavanasana, 8-angle pose.
Okay.
This would just marry what's
Yeah,
Cool, thank you.
yeah, that's easy.
So it's the next, like from crow to.
That's what we just did.
That's not, that picture isn't side crow.
Oh,
Yeah,
No,
That
that's
picture, right?
that's what the
attached to the person.
Yeah.
When you see the hands,
Because that's not, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, just below that slide.
Ah, thank you. Drop the head.
Yeah.
Then the legs in there. Wait, and then what?
Let me show you. It's, so this is the peacock pose.
Yes.
Peacock pose, hands like that. I mean, you can put them together. I put them actually put them shoulder width apart. I bend the elbows, and this is, I think, generally speaking, easier for guys and girls, just for obvious reasons. We put our elbows into the stomach, and then we just get forward.
It's the boob.
Where did you go? Did you start? Sorry, how did you start doing that? Which way were your hands again?
The hands like that, in
Yeah.
reverse,
Yeah.
and then your elbows go into your stomach, and then you lift up.
Okay.
No. I might take that one out.
That is
What chest?
Too much in the way.
I play boobs.
yeah. I believe my knowledge
So that is
anyway.
one thing, yeah, is boots. But the other thing
I've got
is,
less of an excuse than you.
have your arms beside your body. Everyone, put your arms beside your body like this. And
Should we be up on our feet like that? No. Yeah. Oh, okay.
and just look around and tell me how, generally speaking, Matt and my arms differ from your arms. Male to female.
Your
longer.
elbows point out more as well.
Sorry?
Your elbows point out more further than his do. I find. You're both very veiny as well.
We should just pick out the points that have nothing to do with
Me compared to Nicola, yeah?
That sounds
Me compared to Nicola. Just relax your arms.
Okay, mine are less hairy.
the full, the fold is straighter in Mickey's, and Nicola has more angle. We make
See
that
that?
straight.
Women arms angle out more, and men's are more straight.
What is that? I'll have to ask in
Smart.
class.
Yeah.
I'll ask in class, anatomy class.
So the ancient male yogis based on what brings up the male body.
Well, it's just that
So
one
it just
body,
makes
right?
something like that easier, generally speaking, for man. But it's not always. Obviously,
Does it mirror the hip joints in that sense?
Yeah.
What are you saying? About my hip joints.
You're much more flexible than I am.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so certain things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
apart from the other obstacle, but
What other obstacle? What are you talking about?
It's funny because I think when in children there's very little difference, because I know when I was a kid I was good at all that sort of thing, and then when I hit to my teenage years I just couldn't do it at all. So
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean every man can do it. And it doesn't mean every woman can't do it.
We rehearsed this beforehand. A lot of time doing that.
It's a generalisation, but it's good.
Good example.
We rehearsed by Zoom, by the way. Yes, that's one thing. Practice.
So another arm balances, one leg rests on one arm while the other leg is unsupported. These poses, Ekapada, Punyasana, extra power from your leg, abdominal and back muscles to lift your unsupported leg and prevent over twisting in the upper torso. So Ekapada, Punyasana, A or B is illustrating that. Yeah? So B, Ekapada B, is this one here.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like
Wow.
So my left arm is not holding up anything, but my upper right arm is holding the whole weight there.
Gosh, that's clever. That's tricky.
But I think it's in the kramas and
It's
the
in the
lead up.
kram.
Because
so
I would never be able to think, oh yeah, I'll just get into that. But I think I would do that when you really workshop it thoroughly and you get into it.
yeah, and Grace, you come to my class review. you know when I sometimes do the kramers with that one?
Yeah, so after Matsi and
Can you do it? Can you try and guide us?
So we'll come into Matsi and Drasana first. So keeping the left leg extended, bringing the right knee bent, and taking the right foot over the left leg, putting it next to the hip. Option to keep the left leg extended or bend it so that the right heel meets the right hip. Inhaling to lengthen the spine, taking the left arm out. Exhaling to give ourselves an embrace, or option to bring the left elbow so that it's propped up against the right thigh to get further into the twist. Holding here for a couple of breaths. The next inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to center. Exhale, as we take the counter pose, we'll bring our arms down to the mat and make forward to kiss the floor. Option to come into our Ikapada B here, where you'll do what we did. I'm not sure if we can do it. So, option to lean forward and kiss the floor, or if we're coming into Ikapada B, bring in the inside of the right knee onto the right elbow or upper arm, leaning forward.
Right upper arm to the inner right thigh. Let's say right upper arm,
Right upper arm.
connecting with the inner right thigh.
Okay. Keeping the spine straight, straightening the back leg, coming up onto the toes of the left foot, and if we can hover the right leg, that's half of the way, maybe that left foot comes up as well.
Wow. Well done, Grace.
Very doesn't mean I can do it, but
And you see how there's those kramers. So let's try that again. So you're in your spine twist. You come to the other side. So step one, right upper arm under the right thigh or inner thigh, hands to the floor, and then come down. This is one option. Come down, and so you can get your right foot off the ground. Right foot off the ground, and body's down on the ground.
Where's this one? Is that behind?
Just this is
It's just there.
next to you.
Oh, sorry.
There.
See?
So that's
You're on my
step
mat.
one.
Grace
That's step one, is just to get that foot off the ground and rest. And you're creating a ledge with the upper arm, the right arm, and resting the inner right thigh on that ledge, so that the right leg, you can shake the leg. So that's step one, and maybe that's where you're working with.
Come up here, see.
The next step,
I made room for
is
you.
to stretch out the back leg, and then come onto the toes of the back foot, and turn the hips to try and square them to the ground. And then from there, so that's already a great step if you can get to that. From there, you then press the body off the ground, and then lift the back leg off the floor.
It's pretty amazing.
yeah. I feel like it's a lot easier to do after the 40 minutes that preceded it.
Yeah,
Kind of
it's
like
such a
all
build up
engaged.
to it. Yeah.
Which class is this? That you do it in?
Vinyasa,
Vinyasa.
yeah, every Wednesday evening.
Wednesday evening. Oh, okay, is that before the yin one? Yeah. Okay.
But you can see how we can give people crumbs to work on.
Yeah.
The twisting the back
If you
leg.
could just say, oh, let's all go to that.
Yeah, and even just having, it's like, you know, they say these poses are about like courage. I think even just getting your body in those positions actually gives you that courage and gives you that space to kind of go, oh, I could actually do this. I'm envisioning how it can work.
Yeah. That's what I say. I say I could if I wanted to, but I just don't want to.
Using my energy.
Yeah, I'm just, that's all I'm doing.
I find it quite difficult. I got into the habit of using my left hand to sort of prop me up, and like breaking that habit is quite challenging. Okay. So that you're using the weight of
Into there.
yeah.
variations.
What's that one called again? Sorry.
Ekapada, Kundinyasana, B.
Oh.
What's the A?
Wow.
What's the kind of animal pose of what's it called?
Kundinyasana. Kundinyasa was a sage, so it's the name of the sage.
Oh, okay.
That's the
Oh,
English.
so like sage pose, yeah.
Is that the English name for it? The sage pose.
Ekapada, what would Ekapada mean? Any idea?
Something with feet.
Yeah. Leg. Eka.
Side.
One.
Oh.
One-legged sage pose.
That's actually still, yeah, that's one in Hindi, right? So, yeah.
Is it ek?
Ek. Yeah.
Oh,
That is one.
I am Afrikaans. So, sorry, Ekapada. What's two?
That's I. You say echo. Eka.
In
Yeah.
what?
So ek is I and eka is I.
Yeah,
As a plural.
In French.
I mean I as an I, like I one person. In Afrikaans.
Yeah.
Afrikaans. So ek is I. One person.
It's like the German ich.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very similar. And in Dutch it's ik.
Awesome. Ich.
So these poses, Ekapada Kundinyasana, extra power from your legs, your abdominals, your back muscles to lift your unsupported leg and prevent twisting, over twisting in the upper torso. So Ekapada Kundinyasana A is more the twisting version. That one's a bit of a twist there, but not much. Grace, you remember A? Which one that was? You can do that. I think.
That's the one from the twist, right?
From the twisted lunge, yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a demo. So from that twisted lunge, hands down.
Oh, that's the one in here that says side crow.
Well, it's similar to side crow.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And that's A.
That's Ekapada A.
I see. Give me a few more minutes and master it.
And what's the English name for that?
One-legged sage's pose A.
Awesome, yeah, okay. Sorry. Silly me, tall something I was doing.
That's so much easier than the other one.
Yeah, that looks a lot, it seems a lot easier. I feel like because it's,
What do you say?
like the twist.
So that's the difference between that and side crane. Side crane legs together. Ekapada. Kundinyasana is legs apart.
So the twist kind of means that you have to engage your core a lot more than what you do in the B version, which like, I don't know, I find it a lot harder to just keep my core activated when it's not, like when it's open.
True, yeah. Reading on, although one or both legs may be supported, and although there are 3 different placements of your legs, inner thighs, shin and outer thigh, on top of your arms, in all cases the pose will be much easier to position your legs as high up on your arm as possible, and as far towards the back of your arm as possible, which is what I was mentioning before, being as high on that upper arm as possible. In fact, having the flexibility and how to get your arms and legs into this integration is the difference between being able to do these poses smoothly rather than not being able to attempt them at all. If you can squat with your trunk rounded forward between your thighs and your shoulders lower than your knees, you probably have enough flexion in your spine and hips too. So if you can squat with your trunk rounded forward between your thighs and your shoulders lower than your knees. Gosh, that's not very easy.
What bit's supposed to be lower than the knees?
Shoulders.
Oh gosh. Oh. How do you do that?
Seems pretty good.
It feels like the here is
Grace.
So you've got it. Oh, so you can round your back.
Is it about rounding your back or just crouching low?
Oh, that's good. Both, that's
Bit of both. Which one's this one?
Well, it's just trying to give you a measure of if you're able to do this squat, then you should have enough flexion in your hips and your spine to be able to perform some of these balances.
Oh gosh, I definitely should have learned how to walk smoothly before.
Practice the shin to arm and inner thigh to arm balances. You can get to the top half of the upper arm on the outside of the opposite thigh in Padavita Parsvakonasana, the revolved side angle pose, which is what Grace showed us just before. And the loose pose, you probably have enough rotational flexibility in your trunk and spine to practice the outer thigh to arm balances. If you can't bend that far into these preliminary poses, you need to keep practicing. You also need sufficient wrist extension to place your palms flat on the floor and then move your forearms perpendicular to the floor without feeling pain. Remember, forearms perpendicular to the floor is always key for these arm balances. So if you have wrist problems, you may be able to practice with special hand props such as wedges under the hands that elevate your wrists and dumbbells like gripping bars.
What's the noose pose?
Loose pose is that one there. I mean, ultimately it's with the arm.
Okay.
It's that twist.
In my hand.
Secrets for better arm balances. That's what you need. Secrets. Number one, use your hands and wrists the right way. When you learn how to properly distribute your weight throughout the hand, specifically in the triad of the hand, the metacarpal knuckles of the thumb, index and pointer, and that's wrong because the index and pointer are one and the same, aren't they? So thumb,
Maybe look middle.
index, and yeah, maybe middle, that sounds like a triad, doesn't it? Balance will take on a new feeling of lightness. Learning to distribute the weight and find balance in the hands is very similar to how a baby learns to balance and take the first steps. Learning to walk and balance on the feet, the weight must be shifted onto the toe mound to achieve even weight distribution in the feet. The same rule applies for the hands. As you move the weight of your body forward into the pose, the triad of your hand should begin to bear the weight. So really, I think probably a key point is actually that spot there. The metacarpal of your index finger. If you think about pushing into that area, I think that is key. I mean,
Is that the big toe knuckle?
that one.
Yeah. Is that like the big toe knuckle of the hand?
Yes,
Where
yeah.
translating it from
Exactly. The way your ankles. Once bearing your weight even in your hands, you must use your wrists to resist the weight moving forward in the hands and body.
Just ask something, catching up. The triad of the hands, is that the kind of triangle between the thumb and the index finger, or is it the triangle between thumb, that point you just mentioned, and the middle?
Well, that's what we were trying to work out because it says thumb, index, and pointer. The index and pointer are the same.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Because I've always thought you meant to put most of like Astabamba basically in this kind of triangle down here, but still have all 10 fingertips pushed in. That's how you protect your wrist. That's what
Yeah.
I thought it worked.
Yeah, I think that's it's a case of, Hastabandha is all about lifting it, creating that space in the middle of the hand. So using those we call the metacarpals of all the fingers and the thumb as part of the heel of the hand. So using those areas essentially, but also then the fingertips as well. Incorporating the fingertips as well. So it's kind of all and I'm pretty sure we avoid that area.
Yeah, that sounds right because that's quite fragile, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because of this triangle in here must be the
correct forearm placement. So again, when the hands are flat, forearm should start perpendicular to the floor. The farther the forearms move forward, the more the body is able to open up and close. Think of your shins and how they move when you walk. More control is achieved when the shins are moving in a forward angle to keep the weight into the toe mound rather than leaning back into the heels of the feet. When it comes to arm balances, this forward motion keeps the weight in the try of the hands, so you have something to add wrist flexion against. And keep your gaze 6 to 8 inches in front of your hands as another way to keep the weight moving in the right direction.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
Can anyone summarise that for Jacinta?
Like where you're actually looking, you always want to look
6 to 8 inches in front of you.
Okay, yeah. So
It's like searing crow pose, rather than having your head hanging straight down,
yeah.
yeah. Which just takes you into the floor, or backwards. You kind of take your head slightly forwards, so that your weight is pointing forward more.
Yeah, get it.
That wasn't a summary, that was a more.
Give yourself time. If this technique's new to you, then take it slow. Wrist flexion is a big part of arm balances. And unfortunately, we rarely do the actions necessary in our daily lives to strengthen the wrists. Over time, you will build the strength and improve your arm balances. But if we're maybe not doing so many arm balances, but we're doing regular vinyasa classes, what's building that wrist strength in our vinyasa classes?
Downward dog.
Chaturanga especially. So a regular vinyasa practice will build over time the right strength and flexibility you need for various places in the body. Here we go into a little bit more detailed anatomically. I don't have my anatomy notes for this, so I can't remember. Is it who's good at anatomy?
I just did an exam on this, and just pronator teres has just got out of my head, but I can tell you where the medial epicondyle is.
Yeah.
Which is there of the ulnar and so the medial epicondyle is on that side,
So it's part of the elbow.
Medial is this side, lateral medial.
So it's part of the elbow, is it?
Yeah, it's part of the elbow. Yeah. From the coronoid process of the ulnar. So the ulnar is on facing anterior. So it is this side, so it's there, because you need anterior position, so it's that one there.
So they originate from the coronoid process of the ulnar. Both heads combine into one tendon that inserts onto the lateral surface of the radius. This muscle acts to pronate the forearm. Remember what pronate means?
Yep, down.
Turning the arms like that.
Yep.
Right. Pronate.
Pronate, yep.
What's the opposite of pronate?
Supine. Supinate.
Supinate.
Pronate.
This muscle acts to pronate the forearm, turn the palm face down. It can also assist in flexing the elbow. Pronator quadratus originates from the distal quarter of the anterior surface of the ulnar and inserts onto the distal quarter of the anterior radius. It acts to pronate the hand and stabilize the wrist.
Also crosses over the hand.
So can you tell us where that is? Where that's running through in the pronator quadratus?
Saying that like the anterior surface of the ulnar, the insert's there, and it goes to the radius, and it's kind of like will go across the arm like that. Because normally they say like, what muscle would you use to do that, and you can feel that that's what's pulling, is like a muscle across to turn the hand. Yeah. So it'll be that one there.
My anatomy now.
Sorry. Yeah, it's just completely on the inside
Okay, we can go into a lot of details on which
Well,
muscles.
that's hereditary, isn't it?
But let's do, because of time, I'd like us to practice a little more some of these unbalances. Just to, I guess, I just want to go through 17 unbalances. So what are some of the other arm balances? So we've looked at side crow, crow and crane. We've looked at Ekapada, Padunasana A and B. And Ashtapakasana. Any ideas? So then it also lists, I mean, it mentioned the handstand.
So what was the first one, Nikki, that you said?
Bakasana,
Bakasana, crow, or crane. Bakasana is crane.
Yep, so one,
Bakasana is
and then crow, the Kakasana 2.
And then side, Padasva Bakasana, side crow. Ashtabakasana, the 8 angled toes.
There's other variations of handstands though.
There's the handstand, which is Adho Mukha Vriksasana.
Yeah, because you can go like, when you get more advanced, you can go wide legs, the scorpion thing that people do.
But that's another big one, another good one worthy of having a look at. Scorpion and
Inversion or unbalance?
well, it's both. It's both. So we may have touched on inversions.
Yeah, that's a side preview. That's not
Yeah,
the
not
main
feature.
feature.
Which is the one you said that's good, that's worth looking at, the next one.
Scorpion pose, but also Pinchamayurasana.
Oh, thank you.
Pinchamayurasana is Pinchamayurasana is
I know because I'm trying every day and I still can't.
What's that?
so you've been trying?
I can't do it, but I try.
Can anyone do Pinchamayurasana? Yes. Forearm balance.
Or then just balancing with the body parallel to the floor.
No, the body position.
It's like a headstand but on your forearms basically.
Oh, yes,
yes.
yes.
Last time.
Gabby, is that
That's
the yoga
right, yeah.
for you? What is that?
No, this is yoga mind.
Oh, okay.
It's like classic DK photos in that.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I probably should have looks too and just adore the models. It's funny.
Classic DK, like
That publishing company.
yeah, the layout, everything's just like.
Would you say it's a good book to get?
I think it's the first yoga book I got many years ago when I was traveling, and this was like my teacher for many years. Was just this book. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's got like lots of like purification, bandhas, relaxation, recipes, Ayurvedic diet. You know, it's got a lot of good stuff.
Sounds like a good book.
Yeah, there's lots of good references. Like, what is positive thinking? Yeah, you ever need a reference? Why meditate?
Hang on. Let's go back here. A British definition of what is positive thinking. Apologies to President.
Well, the introduction is just complaining about how people don't think positively.
That is shit, isn't it?
Oh, I like
It's thinking shit, isn't it?
So what's it called, Gabby? Sorry.
Yoga mind
body. I can write it in the chat.
Oh, thanks, please. Thank you.
Do you reckon it's still in print?
Yeah.
If you got it years ago? Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
Is it also an arm balance, the one that I've seen people where they have their leg over, one leg over the shoulder, and then I see they're like this, one leg's behind, that goes in the Ashtanga.
This one here.
Yeah. And what's that called?
Handbag pose.
I haven't tried this one. It's probably not as hard as it looks. I mean, the hardest thing is to get that out there. But even if you can't get it there, you just see if you can do it from there. So you're trying to get your leg over your shoulder. And then you lift your bottom off the floor, and then you extend the legs down.
The core. Oh, group that's smiling. I'm using my gold stuff.
Oh, I get cramp.
Yeah, in the bottom leg.
No, my thigh.
Top one.
Yeah, like in the one that's extended.
Had a real kind of,
Yeah.
sensational.
Exactly. So I did the technique of leaning back and it kind of helps.
That's
If you really want to get fancy, then you do a nice little, you can do a nice little combination of this one, Ashtapakasana, and Kundinasana.
Can you do both legs?
So starting with that one, that into Ashtapakasana.
Oh,
wow. Are you just showing off?
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
So when you want a good yoga party trick.
Yeah. Isn't that the one that you photographed in that book about the Australian yogis or something like that? Isn't that?
I'm in
Are you doing that one? Yeah.
What's that book?
Oh, it was on the retreat a couple of years ago, and it's just, I think it's about people in Australia who do yoga, but it's sort of a photography book and a bit of a profile on different teachers and practitioners and things like that talking about yoga, and they do their favourite, they're photographing their favourite pose.
So that's your favourite pose?
It's his party trick.
Spin some tunes, get the people, work out the Friday. Yeah. No wonder people want to invite you. Like, let's get Mickey.
rolling out.
Yeah. Walking in on his hand.
Let's have a go at Pinchamayurasana though, because I think it's not as well. It is hard. But if with this is a good one where you can practice with a friend. So forearm balance, and often using block can help too. So one of the challenges with this one is to keep the forearms parallel, because they often come out like that, or the hands come in. The hands tend to slip in. So if you have a block between the hands like that, that can help. Not always. For some people, it might feel worse. And the other option is you have a strap around the upper arm. But if we can get into that position there, and with a friend to help, can someone spot me? So spotting, yeah, you want to be on my side.
So now I'm so this side. That's awesome.
But once you're up, and you it up, then it becomes really important to find the balance on the hand. So it's almost like you want to start playing the piano with your fingers. Just the fine attunement of where you place your fingertips will actually tweak where your body's at as well. So it's a real, once you're in that balance, it's a real fine little attunement. Try it with a friend. If you're up for it.
I'm feeling
rather
reluctant.
Should I join you as a treat?
Yes, love watch. I mean, I
Just clear all that zone.
Yeah, I
Really
think
long.
I
I should
think
try to go
I don't think I'm going to make that.
No,
Yeah, that's a good one. The tips. T-shirt.
I could just use the ball.
Okay, yeah, you watch when you're spotting.
Yeah,
never get
actually,
behind.
they're gonna just go like this.
The guys here watching when you're spotting, never get behind your friend or in front.
Yeah.
To the side.
Keeping your head off the floor.
Shoulders away from the ears.
Oh, would the wall help?
Head off the floor, looking the other way we split into two groups. One group going to the big room, and one group stays here. And from what you've learned today, what pose could you think you could try and teach someone else? So we'll just take turns teaching each other. And even if you can't do it, just can you guide someone without doing it?
Yeah.
Do you want to ask?
Yeah. Okay, we'll go. Yeah, let's leave.
You four and plus one. 5 in there and 4 in here.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
So who's missing? Who's Nicola. So she can maybe go to you guys?
Yeah.
And you guys, so someone get to the teacher's position.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And take turns just guiding through
You want us to teach us demonstrating or to do
you can with demonstrating.
With demonstrating.
If you can.
So a different one
Use
than
the
what I
option
did
to do
earlier.
that as well.
Okay, I want to do that on the side one. Okay. Oh yeah. So coming into table
So,
okay. Oh, I need my book.
What
pose are we doing?
That side split leg one,
Ekapata
the twisted one, the A.
Ekapata and
Yeah, I like that. I like that one. And I thought I'd teach a different one on it straight away. Okay, so you come up into a high plank and step your right foot forward between your hands. And come up into a high lunge. And hands to your heart center. And then taking a deep inhale. And we're going to twist to the right, bringing the right elbow on the outside of the knee. And then slowly you can bring your hands down to the ground. Maybe this twist is enough. Okay, so like that. And then if you want to, you can also now lean over onto those hands. Making sure that the outer edge of the right leg is like this. I don't know if it goes through well. Yeah. And then lean forward and lift the leg. I don't know what the crumbs are for that.
Oh, yes, Gabrielle.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I realised we had a picture of
Yes.
Well done.
Is there another krama like that you would, I mean, like you can get people on their knees maybe, right? And
That's
put it
right.
on there.
On the knees is actually
Better.
probably easier.
And then like, could you just say like, hold yourself here instead of like fully going into it, or like go here and then like straighten the back leg like that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can anyone think of any other kramas that you could do there?
Maybe even not lifting the back leg, but just the front leg. Could you even do that?
That's fine.
Such a tricky one.
That's great. I've never even kind of conceived packing into it, so this is actually nice.
Yeah, another part. Yeah.
Okay, just torture.
Do you want to try the other side?
Yep.
Yeah, just to balance it out. Yeah. So just come into the lunge. And if you want to start with your knee down this time, you're welcome to do that. And deep inhale to lengthen the spine, and as you exhale to twist, bringing the elbow to the outer edge, and then placing the hands on the ground, making sure that you have your Hastabandha, the hand lock activated, Mula Bandha, the Uddiyana Bandha activated, and then start to do your thing.
Well, that one I can do for them. That's good.
One krama I like to give you this one is that the higher you can come up on that upper arm, or the lower you can get the elbow down, and the easier it's going to be. Think about it. If you're just there, it's trickier than if you're there.
I think that's why it's easy if you're on your knee as well. You can do that. That's so nice. Well done, Nicola.
Yeah, well done.
Let someone else have a go. I'll go and check on those guys.
Okay. Alright, my friends.
What you got?
I just gotta bring it down into Malasana.
Bring it down.
Really just drawing the tailbone down, lifting the chest, inhaling. And exhaling. And then you're going to begin to raise the hips up, drop the hands behind you, really send the crown towards the ground.
Oh, this is cruel.
Yeah. And you want to get your
Blocks that.
shins, knees to your upper arms. And then when you've got them as high as you can, just begin to send the hips back down as you engage your abundance and lift the legs.
Yes.
This thing that works straight.
Well done. Do you want to try out 2 blocks?
Thank you for that hint. I'm good to go. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Thanks
sorry.
very much. Thank you.
Yeah, so like place them just behind the inside. Yeah. And then like get your legs as high as you can.
Actually, wow, that's the spot.
Yeah. Well done.
Oh.
And think straight.
Then what?
Think straight.
Think straight. Like, it doesn't even feel like I don't have this flexibility, it just like doesn't want to go there.
That's me too. It's complete compression.
My brain's just like, no. Smooth.
What would be
That's the best I've got into that pose.
like a krama sort of, because I can't lift myself up even when I'm walking. So what would be like a practice to get to that lift?
I don't know, I'd probably say just like holding yourself there and like even just leaning and like rocking and doing like that.
Yeah, okay,
Just getting one foot off the ground. It's like getting into crow as well.
Maybe if you're coming into just like this position where you're on your arms, but you've got your feet down, and then maybe you lift one, and then maybe you lift another.
That's a good call. Yeah.
So maybe like crawl your feet out a little further.
Okay, yeah.
So straighten your legs as much as you can while you've still got ground connection.
Yeah, I think it's definitely I need strength in the arms and the core. But I get you, like definitely that's the workout.
If that's the case,
towards
can you do crow?
I can, but like split second.
Well, that's the foundational one to get the rest of them.
Yeah.
Which is okay. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
If you're there, then you've got something to work out.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Okay.
It's
It's giving me a sweat.
I know.
Wanna go now?
Schwitzing. All my cells.
I'm gonna try crow.
Coaching.
So like in
Malasana.
Stop
Breathing. Sending the hands back.
just get that. I'm getting that connection first, and then maybe crawling feet a little bit out away.
Still keeping that connection. And then maybe lifting one, straightening one leg, and then maybe straightening them. Yep. But really lean the chest forward. I think the more you lean forward, the more your arms become the ledge.
Yeah.
And then I think when I look at the people who do the advanced Ashtanga ones, their legs are literally like over their shoulders.
Yeah.
So they get their they get like because their arms are straight and their body's like in this position essentially.
Yeah.
You're not going to do like that, but it's like their legs are coming from the outside of their arms.
Yeah.
Instead of like down there. So that's where the flexibility has to be. Who's up next? Aaron?
I'll try and teach crow. Because that's as far as I go.
Even like throw on blocks is nice. But
Yeah.
just I don't know, like somehow when I was doing the class with Amy when she was doing unbalance, it's like blocks just really changed the game.
Yeah. Alright, let's make our way to Malasana. Just breathe into that pose. Arms are clear. Elbows towards the knees, widening the hips. Breathing in, placing the palms in front of the mat. Just in line with your knees. Inhaling, lifting the hips up. And on the exhale, shifting the weight forward with your knees. Getting some support from the back of the biceps. And slowly lifting yourself up. Good crow. Yeah, well done. Yeah, well done. Great. I was able to do it actually. There and there.
Surprise yourself. Once you come from crow, the
Yeah.
big thing for me was actually being able to trust myself to lean my head forward far enough.
Yeah.
And not fall.
Definitely.
That's because if you're falling once you do that, then you can just kind of follow.
Yeah. It's really that fear, I think, of like falling forward. And you were mentioning like in terms of gaze earlier, like just not keeping that gaze down, maybe a few inches.
I still make that mistake. By the way.
Yeah, no, so
Would that be something? Would that be something that you bring up in class to students? You're like, look, don't be afraid of falling because like
That's all you're going to do.
yeah,
It's not that big, it's not a big fall.
yeah,
and maybe having like if someone's new, maybe suggesting a
Yeah.
blanket or something.
Well, bolsters,
For sure.
like Nicola was doing before, a bolster's
Yeah.
actually a really good
yeah.
prop to have
for safety.
for safety,
yeah, for
just to give you
safety.
Then you could do the old, see what happens when you just take your twisting forward 6 or 8 inches and your head slightly forward. Just notice what happens.
I don't think arm balances should be for like a beginner or starter class though.
Why not?
Why not?
I was joking, it's okay.
Ah.
look, no, I mean, I'd say you're right. Generally speaking, no. Generally speaking, I would say no, but it's kind of relative, I think.
To me, it feels like it's an advanced.
You would gauge your students. You gauge your students, and some students would be fine to try some arm balances straight up, and some wouldn't probably ever. So it's really a matter of that
Gauging who comes to class.
And then they come back and you're like, what?
Yeah, but generally speaking, I agree with you, Pam. Generally speaking, arm balances are more advanced poses that you wouldn't necessarily introduce in a beginner's
I think
class.
it's the intention, like because you're doing the calmness the whole time, like and the practice, like I remember there was one practice I was doing where you like go from here and then you do this a couple times, and she was like doing that a few times in the video, and then suddenly she was like, okay, now prop yourself up, and I suddenly went like, and I was like, oh, I just did it, like, and it's just like that. The intention of getting the brain to realize that's what we're trying to do, because you know what the pose looks like.
Yeah.
So just by practicing, the body will kind of just like, I feel like it will just like reorganize itself to eventually just and you'll get you when you least expect it as well.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, I did it.
Yeah.
Every time for me. Like,
Yeah, it makes sense.
You almost give yourself a fright sometimes.
That's right.
You see how easy it is. It's just like, why is this suddenly so easy now?
Yeah.
Like, last night I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Sure. And then it's like, once you got it, it's like, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, now you get it every time.
Yeah. Alright, cool.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darryl.
Thanks everyone for the guidance. Matt?
What are we doing today now?
Thalasana, scales pose.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I can do it with the lotus.
Yes, that's what we do.
Oh yeah, we can lotus.
Well, why don't we start from butterfly pose? I'm making this split up, but I suspect it might be a nice way to go into it. We'll start in butterfly pose. Take your pistol grip around your big toes. Piece of your grip, let's be more yogic and non-violent about it. Just take a little forward fold to start opening up the hips. Your hips. Breathe into that spot a little and just clearing that intention that might be there. And next, inhale, gently rise up, vertebra by vertebra. Option here to come into Sukhasana, easy pose. There are 3 options. And paradoxically, the harder pose to sit in will be the easier pose to lift up into. So the first is doing this in Sukhasana, which is really what I'm going to demonstrate. But if you have an easy half lotus in your practice, feel free to take a half lotus like so. If you're feeling okay in your hips, then you can bring the other foot up into a full lotus. Less mangled than mine, how about that? Now in Thalasana, it actually really helps when you're starting to have a block under either side of the hand. So if you want me to bring one to you, please say so. We'll bring 2 to you.
Yeah.
Get them both? Yep. And so you bring the blocks beside the hips, with your hands pointing forward. Excuse me, coming to Sukhasana. So they're beside the hips, and you take you really do take the weight into this triad of the hand here, using this big knuckle. Really, you've got it already, Gabrielle. You've both got it already. Fantastic. I took one of these into an exhale to lift up, so that your one way to get into this pose is just practicing lifting your shoulders and keeping your legs down.
The next inhale, you want to come in.
That's awesome. And really, Talasana is, yes, a lot about your shoulder strength and the obliques down the side lifting up. But it's also about your core, and your core is what you need to keep your legs up. So, taking your ruler under and taking your belly to the spine. Take a big inhale, and then on an exhale, press into the hands and press the ground away. And lean back ever so slightly.
Whoa.
Into your back muscles.
That was awesome.
Yep. So activate your back muscles. Well done.
I can't believe I was able to lift myself up.
Well done,
That was great. Good. The time was really good.
Yeah. The block and the lean back. The lean back changes the game.
Yeah, it really does.
I'm not sure where I picked that up from, but it really does help.
Yeah, seriously.
Because it actually brings it into the back muscles.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing.
you've all got some great tricks.
Yeah.
Yes. You got it. Well done.
Should we try and do the pendulum swing together?
Yeah.
With blocks.
With blocks.
For sure.
You just went like this, like.
I want to. That's like way more core than.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's actually the core. Yeah. Brilliant.
Oh god.
So much more fun doing it for you guys than online. Well, it's but you know. So you meant to keep them.
Yeah, just like lifting your feet off the ground, just like that.
The core is buckled. Your ears buckling.
Oh, you got it though.
And now swing.
Just put a spin on it.
And engage bundles.
Oh yeah. What do you care about my bundles and arm balances? So I'm so focused on like trying to balance my arm. Body's so tired.
I'm like full on sweaty.
I know. I keep putting my helmet on and taking it off.
Yeah.
I really want to try a handstand.
Do you want to be spotted?
I'll do it again.
The wall is a really helpful.
The wall is your friend.
Yeah, the wall is.
I can do it like cartwheeling into it, but like the jumping, sometimes my legs just.
Is that wall going to be strong enough, or is it like plywood?
Well,
Do you guys on Zoom want to go? Do you guys want to guide us through some balances? Any of them?
It's too hard from without actually doing them.
I can try.
Yeah, you want to give it a go?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't really do it myself, but I'll try it. It's the blind leading the blind. Let's give it a go.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna just move my laptop so you can actually see. Oh, hang on. Sorry, it's hard to find the right spot. All right, so I'm gonna try the crow pose. I don't know if you guys can hear me very well.
Okay.
Gonna give the crow pose a go. So, going to come into Halasana. Hands in prayer and using the elbows to press against the insides of the knees. Then, like the spacing of your feet should help you decide how to space your hands. Place them in front of you, so they're parallel with your feet. And start to lean forward and bring the hips up. Lean forward a little bit more and rest the knees on the biceps. And try to float your legs up. Even if it's just for a few seconds, like me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Cam, are you gonna have a go?
Okay. Let's see. Shall we try a side crow?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll try and do the crammers, and you can do with the pose. All right. So let's go into Malasana and hands planted forward. And then if you can get your left leg under your left elbow, left leg straight. No, so keep your hand, see, it's too hard.
Were you doing side crow or were you doing something else?
Side crow.
Side crow is like this with the two legs bent.
Oh no, I'm doing this one, look.
Oh yeah, that's Ashta something. That's 8 angle pose.
This is side crow
Yeah.
Bakasana.
Mickey
Huh?
said it was the wrong one.
It's a typo.
Oh, what is this one?
8 angle pose. It's on the other page, so you'll see.
What's this one though?
It's called. Hold on.
8 angle it's called in English.
Yeah, Ashta
Eight.
something. You'll see it. It's on like 2 pages on, and so you'll see 8 angle pose as Ashta Vakrasana.
That's true.
All right. Well, no wonder everyone's all confused. It's a bit hard on this thing. All right. So this is the one I'm doing. Okay.
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 8 angle side trick.
Your faces were like, what the heck? Okay. Now do we now are we on the same page?
The internet's just fading, Pam, so just give
What
me...
is it called? Ashta
Vakrasana. It's on page 320, or something else, depending on which one you
Okay. Page 302 in my book.
have. Okay.
Are you okay? Can you hear me?
We can now, yep.
Okay, so let's go back to, yes, where you are. Beautiful. So let's bring our, plant them down in front, hands planted down in front. Beautiful. And now just come forward on bended elbows. Beautiful. Now take the left leg and thread it through so that the left thigh meets the right elbow, inner elbow. Take the left leg, thread it through.
Yep.
Beautiful. And now, if you come forward and extend your right leg to meet under the left foot. Yay! Well done.
Yes. Thank you, Pam. Well done.
We finally got there.
Well done.
So that's Ashtavakasana.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you've all frozen.
Well done.
Would you like to do
You're frozen.
Steps. I think the other steps, I like getting that leg hooked in
Oh,
first.
yeah, that's how I learned from an advanced teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that too advanced to teach?
Oh no, that's how he was just teaching the crumbs of it. Like he was like, oh, you can just do this like as much as you can, and even just holding it there can even be good for your core. Like to squeeze your elbow, like you could feel your body's like already.
Oh yeah, true.
So it's like you can sit there like this.
Kind of like getting those locks. And then just leaning forward.
Yeah, because
and
he said
extending.
he said that's the easiest way. Is that when you start to lean forward and you squeeze the legs together, they'll automatically you'll just like automatically float into the toes. So
yeah, there's that lifting happening when you lock the feet.
Yeah.
But I'm happy here. At the moment.
So up here, there, and then on top. Put that leg on top. That one.
Yes. Thank you.
But you got this is like the important.
That's right. Full hand. Yeah, that's it.
And then just squeeze the thighs together as you lean forward.
Squeeze the thighs together as you lean.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, push the legs away and squeeze the thighs together. Yeah, it has to be like as if like imagine you had something between your legs here and like you want to squeeze, you can't just squeeze like you have to like stretch and squeeze like you're like that's.
I forgot what it is just between my legs. It's the problem.
I guess you have a good reference. It's easy to know how to do it.
Sorry, I shouldn't do that.
I don't even know.
Thank you for that. Didn't realize we
I'm knackered.
How are we going?
My body's exhausted. I'm so sweaty.
We've all done it. We've been on Zoom.
We could have turned the heating down a bit, probably. Wouldn't we?
It's just hot. Is that the thermostat out there?
Outside, yeah.
Oh,
Outside. Had enough?
My body's having some I might take a picture, guys.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really
enjoyed the balances.
We're going to have some more unbalancing days, I think. We're going to organise some unbalancing days for our friends on Zoom as well.
Tip, what I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Was if you're going to do this
So Pam, Elena, we're having more
and you wanna
unbalancing
go 90
days.
degrees,
Yeah.
make sure that you have more than just
It makes sense.
because you'll see, like, it's kind of scary, like, at first, because, like,
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
you kind of go
Straight.
straight.
Really and truly.
Too far, and I'm like, it's too far.
Yeah.
Not necessary.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then you can, like,
I'm going to
Yeah. That's definitely
I want to read something
start,
off my laptop,
and then
so
when I'm feeling more confident, I can start
you're going to have to
and
look
then
at me for a
slowly
second.
to a point where I'm like,
exactly, yeah, and I did that a lot, like, when I was cooking and stuff, I'd, like, be waiting for my dinner to be cooking, and
Oh,
I'd be on the
really?
counter, kind of thing, and just, like, be in that position, and just,
yeah,
like,
okay. Yeah.
pretty good at work.
And strengthening the arms and the core.
Yeah, because a big thing for me was that I always just like, especially from like personal training, we don't really care for form and CrossFit style training, so it's just like, just do it. So I would like, I noticed that I'd have to like learn that, oh, my hands are not really engaged, okay, but like, what does that feel like? And then pull the arms away. And like when you do those like minor adjustments, you can actually feel the difference than just like trying to find balance.
Yeah.
You can actually feel some hold in the balance.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, it's very similar to, I don't know if you would do with the standing standing. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, I forgot how to explain it, but like the pads of the feet and then it goes up and then it twists. Yeah, it's very similar to that. And then engaging that, it feels like my hands are a lot stronger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was the big thing. Like I would first start with like, okay, how my hands engaged, like, and like really do it, and then like, okay, now I'm here. And then once you're in, there's still like more adjustments that you'll feel.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Well, cookie.
Yeah. And like I did it for handstands and like this one as well. Yeah. It's just the core strength to just lift myself up normally like that. So it's like, I can only just sort of do a handstand, like just
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like waiting for the day that I can just do like a wide movement. Yeah, like this into like, oh, let's just.
Oh yeah.
You know, like it's nothing. Like just my average someday.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's a good goal. Yeah. And especially just
yeah. On it. Also, Mickey, I actually have a question. I was doing a practice the other day, and the teacher was talking about with down-facing dog that it's kind of like when you do your cat-cow, and then when you're in this position, it's like you're almost holding that position in the down dog. Is that correct? Or are you actually like, instead of doing this, you're actually like doing like that?
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure, because I don't know if it was just for that practice or if it was just for general. Like if I'm here and I do this, like I can do that.
Yeah.
But then if I like round, I'm like here.
I guess maybe what he's trying to demonstrate is that you want to, in a downward dog, you want to try and open up through the backs of the back there.
Yeah.
So you want to create that space between the shoulder blades somewhat.
Yeah. It feels like the slightly hunched one feels there's more like core work.
I thought you were saying goodbye to me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Sorry.
I saw Pam left the. Oh, it appeared that she left the meeting too. So I thought, oh, okay, must be done. Okay. Okay.
Just waiting for the others to come back from the other room.
Oh,
I just wanted to read something else.
Yeah, it always gets sometimes I'm going to get too technical with it. Like,
Neb, you're not doing your class tonight, are you? No.
because I've also seen.
Sorry? Me.
No, I was just asking Neb if she was doing her class.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And then they kind of go
Which she's
down
not.
dog like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh. So then at first I was like, oh, so it is like this way.
Yeah.
To reach, and then I then that practice is there.
Yeah.
There's a teacher here, Levon. I don't know if you've done his classes. He teaches like Saturday morning, like around 8. I went to one of his classes and he does the vinyasa reverse. So it's like that. It's like literally like flowing yourself back from a chaturanga to a down dog, but like from the front. It was really hard. A lot of, again, core work and core muscles and arms. It was hard, but it was also good to like reverse the process. It's a good workout.
We're back? Sorry, Mickey, we got cut off again. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've gone to my phone, so hopefully.
Okay.
Oh, that's better.
This last bit. But look, basically, I'm just going to read this little article. So I'll post it here in the. Oh, I'll post it in here so you can, if you want, just read it yourself, or if we disconnect again.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Just in case we do disconnect, what homework are we having?
So kind of like we have been doing when we do the asanas. Let's just pick four of our. Pick 4 arm balances that you write the kramas and the benefits for, and then list another 10.
Oh, jeez. Kramas and benefits.
And you can list the ones in the book too. So it doesn't have to be off the book. So there's already about 7 or 8 in the book, I think, that we've gone through. See if we can find a few more.
And also because I haven't been training, I didn't train for like 4 years, like 4 years second it's just like walking. So I was just not letting her strength like and it was also very discouraging. It's like coming from like being so high to being like can't even like lift myself in a push up. It's like quite hard. So it's like I'll start yoga because that can like build me up. And then
You know, when it comes to these balancing poses, Mickey, do you think that it doesn't hurt that you happen to be exceptionally lean?
That's sure. Shape of the body.
Yeah. And I think like just
strength.
it's easier to lift legs that weigh 20 kilos rather than legs that weigh, you know.
Nicola was, and you know, Nicola's really petite as well, and so she could just get up into Pincha Mayurasana. She could do it quite, I mean, I won't say perfectly, but
But
you know.
I think if you're more solidly built, like being a dancer, it's harder to actually lift your legs if they're, you know, more solid.
Exactly.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
Yeah, so can I. Don't worry, I've got
Oh, please, you're a quarter my size.
I don't think so. I don't know about that. Yeah, but just looking at Mickey, it looks effortless because it probably
yeah. Well, I guess the best teachers make it look easy, don't they?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, guys. So just before we head off today, I just want to read you this other article because maybe I'll just read a bit of it, maybe not all of it. Let's see how we go over time. But I've put it there in the chat anyway. If you want to refer to it, it's just I found it's a good article on mastering arm balances. So it's sort of a bit of an expansion of what's in the manual already. But it says, to master an arm balance, you must master your booty. Seriously, your booty.
Oh, my booty, sorry. That's what they say, booty.
Your booty. Seriously, your pelvis is heavy, and knowing where to put it during an arm balance will make a big difference in your ability to distribute your weight effectively and ultimately find lightness and ease in your pose. So that's why, for example, in Ekapada, I mean, so many odd names here, isn't there? It's starting to get all mixed up. In Pincha Mayurasana, in the feathered peacock pose, I was suggesting to those in that room that we need to get our booty up as high above the shoulders as we can to already, because you know that's a big, heavy part of the body. So if that's already in the position it needs to be in, then it's not as hard for the legs to get up. But if the booty's all the way back and you're kicking the legs up, but then the booty needs to come up as well. Then there's a lot more work involved. So, you know. Get your booties sorted. Balancing in an arm balance is about hands, shoulder stability, core strength, pelvic placement, weight placement. So, okay, naturally you need core strength, but not as much as you think. Place your weight smartly and you will use less tension, find more ease and gain levity and freedom in your arm balances. So a few tips here. Tip number 1, maintain excellent hand positioning. To protect your weight in arm balances, weight all 4 corners of the hand evenly. We were kind of suggesting to avoid that one, but this one it says all 4. Maybe try that as well. For most of us, this means pressing more firmly into the index finger mound, which, as I said, that's, I think, important. Without adult supervision, weight will naturally roll to the outer heel of the hand. But we have a lovely little nerve in there called the ulnar nerve. If you've ever had numbness in the outer hand after practicing, the compression of this little guy may be the reason why. There's also a nerve in our carpal tunnel called the median nerve. Keeping weight into our fingertips and medial palm edge will take the weight out of the heel of the hand and help you to protect both these nerves from over-compression. Weighting onto the fingertips will also give you more control of your weight, just like your toes helps you to balance when you're standing.
No, when we were going into the dragonfly pose, I felt
that tension in the carpal tunnel, and I think that might have been why it was like not enough weight in the fingers and more into the heel of the hand because you're kind of shifting your body weight back. So it's more like an aha moment than yeah.
Good. Dragonfly.
Yeah. What did I say?
No, hold on. No, firefly.
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 So the pose is called firefly.
Firefly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, dragonfly is our yin.
Yeah,
yin
I thought it was like dragonfly in one thing and dragonfly in another.
Active dragonfly.
Yeah, yeah, dragonfly.
I thought dragonfly was the one where you like in a lunge, but then you have a leg hit.
That's dragon lunge. So dragonfly is this one here in yin. In yin, dragonfly, dragon lunge, firefly. Tip number 2, maintain shoulder stability. Our shoulder girdle is only attached skeletally in one little place, the meeting point of the collarbone and the sternum. That's it. That's all the skeletal support you've got when you're balancing on your hands. Therefore, you need excellent muscular stabilization through your back and your shoulders to support your arm balance effectively. So we employ the actions of lift your back ribs while you draw your shoulder blades together on your back in order to recruit both sets of muscles that will stabilize the scapula effectively. In a nutshell, this means that the shoulders and the back body must become a place of support. While it becomes tempting in arm balances to drop our shoulders down to the floor, we must earnestly continue to stabilize the shoulder blades on the back rather than collapse into gravity. So essentially, that pulling of the shoulder blades together. Think of lowering into chaturanga. Effectively lowering from plank to chaturanga means that our shoulder blades stay on our back and that the heads of the arm bones stay lifted towards the sky. When the shoulder heads drop, we place far too much pressure on the front of the rotator cuff and joint. Similarly, in arm balances, we must lift the heads of the arm bones skywards to maintain adequate stabilization of this shallow joint. Tip number 3, core strength. You knew it would be in here. Yes, you need core strength. However, core strength isn't just about your six-pack. Core strength means finding the connection from your big toes through the inner seam of your legs, through the pelvis floor and into the deepest layer of your abdominals, the transverse abdominis. In a nutshell, find your leg magnets that link the inner seams of your legs together. This engagement through the legs will naturally lift the pelvis floor and help you to deeply engage your core. When doing an arm balance, we usually have our upper leg against our upper arms. Use this connection to assist you in finding the muscular engagement of the inner leg. Also, remember that your toes are part of your body too. By maintaining awareness from toes to pelvis, you'll be able to recruit the legs to work for you so that they are not dead weight. A great little kind of warm-up sequence which I do from time to time, which brings our awareness to all of that is that one there, where you're lifting one leg, one arm, but okay, where's the awareness? What are the muscles we're using? If you just kind of randomly lifting it, you engage your glutes and you just lift the arm. But the idea is to try and relax the glutes and try to engage the inner thigh, that magnet idea to use the inner line of the body to do the work. So you're tapping into that inner core, and that's already starting to guide that awareness into those inner muscles that you need to engage. And on that, another really good warm-up exercise to build some of that strength we need, particularly in the shoulders for our arm balance, is our dolphin planks. So this one here, where you come into a dolphin, you draw the belly in, shoulders away from the ears. You inhale, you come forwards, and exhale, push back up. Inhale forwards, exhale back up. So do 10 of those every day, or bring it into your practice, and that starts to build some of that inner
Question on
shoulder core.
technique for I saw you had your arms hands into a triangle like this. I often see it done with arms straight out.
I don't know. I was taught it that way as that particular exercise. I think, there's. I mean, when you're doing Pinchamayurasana, it's a different thing. The arms are like that. But I think for the purpose of that exercise, where you're coming into the planks forward and back, that somehow just gives you that connection that keeps you in place a lot easier, I think. Tip number 4, control your booty. When doing a pose like Bakasana, the booty actually needs to be down. Lifting the bum high will disconnect you from your core connection, make the pose more precarious. So it's more about keeping the tailbone down and lifting vigorously through the sides of your waist, recruiting more muscular stability in the pose. But in other poses, such as Ekapada Galavasana, that's another one we forgot to bring in. Ekapada Galavasana. Anyone got any idea which one that one is? Ekapada Galavasana. That's another beautiful one. This one here. Come down.
Flying pigeon.
Flying pigeon.
Oh,
Wow.
Another good party trick, that one.
It's like the Russian dances, but
Ekapada Galavasana. Padasvabhakasana, side crow. Ekapada Kundinyasana, we all know that one now. We must keep our bums high for those ones. Letting the pelvis drop in these poses will deflate the integrity of the pose and make it much harder to shift your weight forwards, to take the weight off of the feet and find your balance. While core integrity is necessary, lift off in these poses depends on your ability to control your weight in space, much like we move weight in a teeter-totter. What's a teeter-totter? Teeter-totter?
There was a pose that was a teeter something.
I think it's like a seesaw. Is that what you mean? Like
That's what it means, yeah. Seesaw, thank you. When the pelvis stays high, you have the ability to shift the chest forward in space, which will allow the legs and back body to become light and eventually float. If the pelvis drops, everything will move earthward and the levity of the pose will dissipate. There's a bit more there. Tip number 5 is patience. And I'll leave it at that just because of time. And that's
So
it.
that's the article you posted, is it?
Sorry?
That's the article that you posted.
Yeah, and I've just posted it in the chat, so you've got it there to reference as you like. So thank you very much, everyone, for today.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Grace. That was beautiful.
Thank
you.
Now
good
it's
work,
good.
Grace. Yeah, now it's goodbye. See ya.